Good for me. Good for you, too.
Good for you. Good for you, good for me,
Good
not
for all of
good
us.
for others. No, it's not for all of us.
No, it is.
No.
It's good for all of us. I'm telling you.
I don't think so.
Good day. Hey, look, it's
I did not have this on my bingo card when I woke up.
It's a good day because, well,
Yeah,
you're right. It's not good.
Yeah, put a spin on that one, will you?
Well, I mean,
You guys want to come over for a poker game? Got one going tonight.
Dude, hand to God.
I'll be
Did
there.
you
I'll bring my X-ray glasses.
The internet is an amazing place because it lives forever. There is someone like I love that people do this. So someone dug through. It was the I'll pull it up. Sorry, I'm just logging into my computer. The Nuggets play-by-play guy is Chris something or other. Someone went back and found a tweet of his from 2022, and it's a poker table. Right? And he says, and the tweet is something along the lines of, so excited to be at the Porter, which is Michael Porter, brother of Jonte Porter, the Porter/Billups charity poker game. God. Really looking to clean up tonight. You can't make it up. Of course, I'm just there
charity.
I'm just there for the replies. It's amazing.
Give me some replies.
Oh, well, I got to log on, but I retweeted it, but I got to log on to my account. But I saw that and was just like, you can't make it up.
Well, he didn't know. Chris.
No,
he had no.
He did not.
Poor unsuspecting Chris.
But I love that it's also Michael Porter Jr., brother of the guy who's gonna go to prison for illegal gambling and has now been banned from basketball for life.
Yeah, it sounds like it was all tied together a little bit.
A little bit, maybe.
Am I wrong?
Well,
they're saying no, but we've also heard
it was though.
Well, that there's
because
more arrests possible. So,
but it was the same bettors that were in the Jonte Porter scandal were tied to the Chance.
Well, there's 30 people that went down, and so
No. Hold on. Okay, should we reset all of this?
We should probably reset.
Yeah, we're getting too deep into it already.
Yeah, because it's complicated.
This is nuts.
Hey, do you guys know what's going on today? If you're just tuning in, you have tuned in on the day that Chauncey Billups, Blazers coach, has been arrested. Why are you cheering that? God, what's the matter with you guys? Little respect. Well, he's been arrested because, and it was at his house this morning at 6 a.m., because he is tied to an illegal poker gambling ring run by the mafia.
Yeah. And others. He also that was the original one that everyone assumed that he was. These are basically two separate.
No, I know. Listen, let's just unpack it. Okay. I'm trying to go slow and organized here. Okay. So the first thing is, this is what we found out this morning.
Yeah. We all found out together.
Yeah, we did. We all woke up to it.
No one knew.
No one knew, and he got arrested this morning. And then here comes Cash, Cash and his prizes.
Yeah.
They hold their press conference, and we find out a lot of information. Okay, so what they said was the feds, they hold this wild press conference. There's a lot of grandstanding, but there's a lot of crazy details. So the mafia was orchestrating a series of illegal poker games that were rigged. They would use wireless cheating technology to rig games. There were games in Vegas. There were games in Miami. There were games in Manhattan. There were games in the Hamptons. 11 states in all. Billups, your coach, your Trailblazers head coach, Chance.
Soon to be ex-coach.
I think that's fair to say.
He has been suspended, by the way.
Yes. He was used as what they call a face card. And what he would do, since he's real famous and cool and hit big shots in the NBA, he would lure in the fish.
Yeah.
And the fish are the men or women that they call the unsuspecting victims because they have a bunch of money, and they would lure them into these poker games and then fleece them of their money.
Yeah.
He was in on it.
Tens of millions of dollars, by the way.
Oh, yeah. One guy lost $1.8 million, they said.
Yeah.
And the fish would want to play in these games because Chance was in the games. Chance would lure him in there.
Yeah.
And Damon Jones was another one as well. So they stole tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands per game from the poor, unsuspecting little fishies.
Yeah.
I think this is the most fascinating part because I had no idea of all this technology.
No,
but
nor did I.
Did you hear about all the? So they used So here are the things that they used to cheat. They used off-the-shelf shuffling machines that were altered to read cards in the deck. That was then relayed to off-site operators who would use a cell phone to send information back to a quarterback who was at the table, who would signal to the others, and that info was used to win the game.
Yeah, so I did some digging into this and was talking to someone that's familiar with the world of gambling. And yeah, I guess they rigged it so when they use, you go to any casino, they use machines to shuffle the cards. So this machine would have a computer in it and would read the card, so it would know the exact order of every card in that deck. And then you can have little earpieces in or whatever, and you can tell everyone, you will know every single card and what order it's about to come out, and you can give it to the other people sitting at the table. Meanwhile, there's one or two poor bastards there that have no idea what's going on.
They also used poker chip tray analyzers, and what those do is secretly read cards under a hidden camera.
Yeah.
They use special contact lenses and eyeglasses to read marked cards.
Have you seen this?
I have.
It's freaking awesome.
There's a photo floating.
It's not awesome, but you know.
There's a photo floating around out there of what it looks like when you're looking through those contact lenses and glasses.
Yeah.
And it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
So the card will be face down, and you will see a K if it's a king or, whatever.
Yeah.
They also used they used an X-ray table that can read cards face down on the table.
Yeah, because if you've ever played, Texas Hold'em, whatever, you just, you deal the cards, and everyone is just they play their cards flat down on the table, and you peek them up, and then when you lay out the cards, they're face down. How great is it that
now,
you just got a table that can read it?
If you're a fish,
yeah,
and you got all your cash, and you strut in there, and you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna take Chauncey's money.
Yeah.
And you sit down at an X-ray table.
Yeah.
Do you think you would know?
Well, I don't know. So it's funny. We have a clip that we can play. It's about 2.5 minutes long, and this is from 2 years ago. Which, by the way, this always blows me away. That no one knew that Chauncey was getting arrested. No one knew that he was under investigation. Everyone was like, "Oh my God! Like this is just completely shocking." And yet, this happens all the time when these big stories out. There's always someone that years earlier rang a bell that everyone ignored, right? So we remember when Chauncey Billups was hired, there was that whole nasty rape thing, and the Blazers told us that no. They had vetted. That's the proprietary, Sean. Yeah, and it's not a deal, and he's been vetted. Well,
it's
apparently,
not breaking news, dude.
Their vetting process is horse ass. There was a professional gambler that was on his a YouTube show 2 years ago that was saying he showed up at a rigged poker game that was run by Chauncey Billups, and he said everyone knew that it was rigged. Every one of those professionals, and he said when he went there and was watching that, he goes, it was absurd that every one of those people at the table had no idea what they were doing, and yet they were cleaning out the pros. He goes, I know for a fact the professional gamblers knew that he was in on this 2+ years ago.
All right, let's play that. It's about a minute and a half.
Yeah.
This must have been like 5 years ago, 2019-ish, I think, 4 years ago, where there was this game. It started in LA and then it came to Vegas for a few days, and it was all built around Chauncey Billups. And I had heard about the game, and the person who told me about it was like, look, I know the game runners. I'm telling you 100% this game is on the up and up. And I was like, well, I know a lot of the people that are involved, and I'm telling you 100% that it is not on the up and up.
Yeah.
And we kind of went back and forth, and I agreed that like I just wasn't going to go play it, but I had some friends who went and played it both in LA and in Vegas, and it obviously like was for sure confirmed to be cheated. Mm-hmm. Like people who clearly didn't even understand the rules of No Limit Hold'em are just like jamming hundreds of big blinds in with like a gutty and then just drilling it. Yeah. Only the pros are losing. Like
how is it figured out? Like it just
I can't remember if this was the game where
no over the loudspeaker.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
That was Pierce.
Oh, okay. Well, it's still. I mean, it's not like Chauncey and Pierce don't know each other. You know, I feel like it's probably the same crowd overlapping there,
Gotcha.
but maybe not.
Okay, so enter the mafia. Okay, we got to add them to this story.
Yeah.
So they had what the Fed said in this press conference was the mafia had pre-existing control over non-rigged poker games, but then they got involved in the rigged games.
Yeah.
So they were going on concurrently. Well, the mafia's like, oh well, we'll take a piece of that. You know how they are.
Yeah.
That's how they sound too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See?
So the money was all laundered, and they said, so like they sent Chauncey. There's a report that they sent Chauncey $50,000 after a game in 2020, and the money was all laundered through shell companies and crypto transfers. They said there were even acts of violence and extortions of victims who owed them money. So the two specific charges for Chauncey, and each hold a maximum of 20 years in prison: money laundering conspiracy and wire fraud conspiracy. So court documents show Chauncey was wired $50,000 after they shook down a whale at an illegal game in 2020. They allege that Billups' role as the face was a key component of the whole thing because guys wanted to.
Yeah.
He was the one that would lure the wealthy players into the games. They wanted to play with him. And in the event that you don't believe that Billups knew anything about this, they have texts, and now this is not from Chauncey's phone, but Damon Jones' phone, and he and Chauncey were in the same roles. And one of them says, "Remember, if you have to think hard about a call, just fold." Another one says, "Watch Amar, he's the Steph. Also, watch Marco, he's the Bron." So if you are thinking in your head, well, maybe he didn't know. Oh no, he knew.
Yeah. So I mean,
So prosecutors say the former players, Billups, Jones, were sometimes told to lose, but other times they were told to win. So they did try to, that guy was saying, oh, it was clearly rigged. They would always win. Apparently they did not always win, but they certainly always came out ahead in the end.
yeah, one of the things he was talking about there with like the gutter is if you don't really know what you're doing, and you like a gutter is where you need one specific card to end up with like a straight or a flush. And if you need that one card, no one's going. He said people are going in with hundreds of thousands of dollars on the off chance you get that one card. You don't know what you're doing. Yeah, that's a professional poker way of saying, yeah, this is horse crap. I know for a fact you don't know what you're doing, and the fact that you're going all in here and you're winning. To some idiot that doesn't know what they're doing, I'm sure that just sounds like you got schnookered. But when you're a pro poker player, you're like, yeah, that's horse crap. Which, bold move, by the way, not just to try to like fool regulars, but you're trying to fool professional poker players.
Well, they just want the money.
Yeah.
Whoever has the money and who's ever willing to sit down at that table, they're going to try to take their money.
Yeah, but at this point, and we can talk about this further because
well, there's way more.
There's way more.
There's way more. So hold on. We have to. I want to try to stay on track today.
Yeah.
And I want to get to everything and lay it all out.
And there's a lot.
That's the first part.
Yeah.
That there are two separate cases. Now, in the other case, Chauncey is not specifically named, but he kind of is named as a co-conspirator. It's basically him. They just don't name him as him.
Yeah.
And this one is the reason that no matter what happens with everything we just laid out, this next one is why Chauncey Billups will never coach in the NBA again.
No.
Regardless of what happens with everything we just laid out, this next one is worse when it comes to if you have any hope of Chauncey Billups returning as coach of the Blazers. He is cooked based on this next one.
He has been everyone involved in this that was currently like Terry Rozier. They have all been suspended. While they investigate, the NBA put out a statement. So Tiago Splitter, by the way, is your new interim coach. And Chauncey Billups will never coach the Portland Trail Blazers again. And as you stated, he will never coach in the NBA again. He is done.
So we'll get to that. Next, we do have Dan Lanning today.
Yeah, there's that. There's a nice break.
I'm excited what you guys are going to ask him. Hey, you ever played any poker, Dan?
Well, we just talked yesterday about asking Dan if he could manipulate a football score.
Yeah,
Probably not the best.
No, we'll just go ahead.
We'll scratch that one.
It's more of a fun, whimsical sort of thing because this is going to be a blowout. But yeah, we'll not do that.
Do you have the balls to open the interview with, hey, we saw that a local coach was arrested at his house at 6 a.m. this morning. Was it you?
What?
Huh?
I think that's funny enough
I did-
where he would hear it because of course it's not in. He's on the phone.
I did bring up,
Well,
remember,
could be from jail.
last year when the scoop and score against Texas Tech covered the spread,
Oh yeah.
and Lanning wanted I think it was El Jefe. Lanning was trying to get him to go down and end the game, and the gamblers needed him to score. And I brought that up, and Lanning was aware, like, of what I was talking about.
Yeah, again, probably not the
Not
best.
the
day
best.
To
We'll
talk
just
point
yes,
spreads.
we'll just shh.
All right, there's more. We'll get to it next on the Fan.
Oregon Ducks football. with Isaac and Suk on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
Okay. Yeah, the reason I was saying at the start of the show that it could be a good day for some. Maybe you wanted a new coach for the Blazers.
Yeah.
They did blow that game last night.
That is true.
And, look, hate to say this, but I've said this many times on the program, when you are a local sports talk show, things like this are good for you.
Well,
there's a lot of people tuning in today.
That is true. And we'll talk about this, obviously there's a lot to get into. I personally believe that this isn't just the end of Chauncey Billups. I think this is the end of Joe Cronin as well.
Well, it probably should be.
Yeah.
But again, not to get into a whole nother thing because we have to stay on track here, but I think that with the change of ownership, all of the house was going to be cleaned anyway.
I think there was a good chance of that, but obviously the reason why I took speaking of gambling, I took the over this year on the Blazers is I think there
How
was.
How you feeling about that?
We'll see what happens.
Might be good,
Might be
bad.
good. Hey, the Tiago Splitter bump. I just thought that they were
You're a
coaching.
loser.
They were coaching for their jobs. And I thought, obviously, there would be a real emphasis on doing everything you can to win as many games and save it. But, at this point, again, Chauncey is gone. And whether Joe Cronin likes it or not, I mean, you and Neil O'Shea are directly responsible for this. You vetted him. You said it was okay. There is now confirmed information that multiple people knew that Chauncey Billups was running these sorts of poker games.
Bro.
So I'll go back to the casino thing, the Robert De Niro. Either you didn't know, and that means you're an idiot and you should be fired, or you did know and you were in on it, and that means that you should be fired.
That's right.
So if you're Tom Dundon, how on earth, when you come into this in April, can you not look at this and say, sorry, guys, whether it's fair or not, every one of you is gone, and I'm going to start with a brand new GM and a brand new coach that we pair together and we move forward. So I just think this is a dead man walking situation with Joe Cronin, whether it's fair to him or not. I just think that's the reality of it.
Yeah, and I feel like that was probably going to be the reality anyway. There's been too much bad stuff go on with the franchise, and this is even more embarrassing. It's just absurd at this point.
That podcast clip, that just makes everything. You talk about the
It's
evidence.
absurd.
Yeah, but when people were out talking about it, and it's
everybody knew it.
Yeah, and I feel like it is alleged willful ignorance at this point.
So what a job of vetting a world-class dirtbag.
You pushed aside the rape stuff. And you told
rather
us
brazenly,
and told us that you vetted him. And when someone pushed on that, that's when we were told it was proprietary and don't worry about it, to basically trust us.
Yep.
Well, not only did you not vet that, but apparently you sure as hell didn't vet this. And that's like, I'm sorry, like how you can trust anyone in that front office now to, quote, do their investigation, and not that we did anyways.
I was going to say,
who
the hell trusted him in the first place?
Again, and
you shouldn't.
All the media availability today, by the way, was canceled, but eventually someone's going to have to come out and speak, and I want someone to stand up and, maybe if the press conference isn't during our show, I would love to stand up and simply ask the question, why should we ever trust what you have said when you told us, you and your former boss, that you vetted him and you knew that all these concerns were washed away, when someone is out there on a podcast publicly saying that in the gambling world, people knew that the center of this was Chauncey Billups? Why should we ever trust what you have to say?
I do the best I can and let the chips fall where they may.
Yeah, he can't. You just can't have him move forward.
He said that last night, by the way.
That was last night?
I do the best I can and let the chips fall where they may.
Yeah, he was responding to a question from Jason Quick.
Did he know last night when he was coaching?
So,
do you think?
No. I got to be careful with this. I stumbled through no due diligence of my own. I was a lie. I stumbled on to someone today. I just happen to know some people in the law enforcement world. And I just happened to stumble upon someone today that has, I can't say how, has very, very direct knowledge of what all this was. And no, he had no idea this was coming. None. They've been surveilling him, though, for about the last 72 hours or so.
It's actually pretty neat.
24/7. They were watching him yesterday. They showed up at his door at 6 a.m. They had the barricade breaker, the Bearcat, ready to go in case he didn't answer the door. And this was a potential real gotcha moment for the FBI. This was a glory case. They were ready
you could tell that from the press conference this morning. I mean, look, the feds really So I
And by the way, like the other one too is I kind of I was asking questions and I was getting kind of some nods and some smiles and some shaking of the heads because I said, "Is this something that was like in the past? Like was he still doing that?" And he just kind of smiled. This is not something that he used to do. This is something that
He does now,
does, and he has
Yeah.
been active doing it. And
it felt to me like the feds in that press conference.
Yeah.
That was a lot of grandstanding.
yes,
And forgive us for not really buying into that anymore.
Yeah.
We've seen that before
Yeah.
where it's led to nothing.
Yeah.
What they were doing, it seemed like, was really trying to send a message to the mafia.
Yeah.
They were really trying to say, "Hey, they were trying to look really good and tough to their public." This was the New York guy, especially. Say, "We're cracking down on this." And what they did was it was very important for them to get Chauncey and to get Rozier as the headlines to get everybody to pay attention to their press conference. But it's clear that it's bigger than just these guys. These guys are just high profile names to allow eyeballs for the feds to get up there and say, "Hey, look at how awesome we are and how tough we are. We're cracking down on the mob."
Cash almost came out. We almost had the director there this morning. That was the original plan, was for him to come out and be there for the.
Well, he was at the press conference.
He was at the press conference in New York, but yeah, it was. So yeah, this was something that.
Okay.
That he was not aware that it was coming, but when they showed up at his door, he damn sure knew why they were at his door.
Okay, so here's the next part. Okay, so we've managed to do it. We already blew through a segment without getting to what we wanted.
Yeah.
And that's what I didn't want to do.
Yeah.
Way to go, Sakim.
You guys stay.
Here's the next part.
Focused.
And this one is from the Terry Rozier case. There's two different cases. There's the Chauncey Poker Mafia ties.
Which, by the way, doesn't have anything to do with the NBA.
No, but then there's also the Terry Rozier case, and Chauncey is not named, but he is considered a co-conspirator.
Yes.
So this is the next thing is where it's like there's no way he coaches no matter what happens with the other case. So we will get to that right after a break. Stay tuned. Here is Schultze with SportsCenter.
Now, from the George McCoy and Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
This update is brought to you by Laurelhurst Market Steakhouse and Butcher Shop. A great spot for any occasion. Don't forget, you save 10% on your Butcher Shop order when you dine in. Menus and more at laurelhurstmarket.com. First on the Fan, shocking news today here out of Portland as Trailblazers head coach Chauncey Billups was arrested by the FBI for participating in illegal poker games with ties to the mafia. According to indictments, Billups is being charged with money laundering as well as wire fraud conspiracy. He was taken into custody this morning around the same time Heat guard Terry Rozier was arrested as part of an overlapping investigation into sports betting. Let's try to break this down for you. The NBA, because of this, has placed both Billups and Rozier on administrative leave until further notice. In response, the team has named assistant Tiago Splitter as their interim coach. Also, part of this investigation, former player and Cavaliers assistant coach Damon Jones was also arrested. It was among 34 total people that were taken into custody. He allegedly disclosed privileged injury info about LeBron James to facilitate illegal sports betting as well. And of course, the NFL is still in action tonight. Week 8 kicking off with Thursday Night Football in LA. The Chargers hosting the Vikings. Minnesota expected to activate running back Aaron Jones from injured reserve. Los Angeles, a 4.5-point favorite. Kickoff at 5:15 on Prime Video. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Schultze from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Heard missing work? Insurance companies acting like jerks? Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
The home of dirt and spray. Weekday morning, 6 to 10 a.m. The Fan Sports Network. Isaac and Suk on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
You're a loser.
All right, Chauncey Billups arrested by the feds today at his house. So here's the next part. This is the other part we wanted to get to tell you about. We talked to you about the X-ray table, the chip tray analyzers, the off-the-shelf shuffling machines altered to read cards, even special contact lenses and eyeglasses to read marked cards. I mean, these guys never stood a chance against chumps at the card table. But the next part is why he will regardless of everything else, he's just never going to do anything with the NBA ever again.
No.
Because this comes from the Terry Rozier case, that's a separate case, and it's where Rozier and others were manipulating prop bet outcomes. And Chauncey is not named, but he is in there listed as a co-conspirator. They call him co-conspirator 8. And it says he was a former NBA player living in Oregon and a coach in the NBA.
It's pretty easy. It's pretty easy.
Chauncey Billups.
And it says his name is known to the grand jury.
Right. So that part of it says that person, the co-conspirator, is alleged to have told defendant Eric Ernest that the Blazers would bench starters and tank against the Bulls on March 24th, 2023. There were 10 games left in the season. They had no chance at the playoffs. This information was not public. Ernest then shared that info with bettors who were previously indicted in the Jonte Porter scandal. That's what I was saying initially. This is all tied together. Yeah. Before the info was made public, bets totaling $100,000 were placed on the Bulls. The Blazers did bench their starters and lost by 28 points. There are receipts of wire transfers to Ernest from the gamblers who won money based on this information that they clearly got from Chauncey Billups before it was public. And by the way, this was the very next night after Rozier tipped off the same bettors that he would leave his game early and for them to bet his under. Yeah. So based on that element alone, Chauncey is absolutely cooked.
Yes. So he probably is going to do some time in prison. We don't know how long, whether he cuts a plea deal, whatever, but he's not. Again, get everyone their due process. And again, I was told by someone today, very close to this is not some flimsy throw something against the wall. This is a multi-year investigation. And when I said, is he in a lot of trouble here? I got a smile and a head nod. He is going to do some time in prison, and he will never coach in the NBA again. And Jonte Porter has already been banned from life. For life. Chauncey Billups is probably going to get banned from life. And it's weird because, dude, that guy is an NBA Hall of Famer, a world champion, and makes millions of dollars. And he pissed it all away over some card games and from helping people earn a couple $100,000.
I mean, he's a bad guy.
He's a bad guy.
And he's, this makes me think of all the rape stuff and how we just kind of were told to just stop talking about it all. Yeah. He's just a bad dude.
Yeah.
And the Blazers should have known that. And it's just a mess. My God, can they just turn the page on absolutely everyone and everything in that organization?
Yeah.
All of it. Clean slate, new owner, new coach, new GM, all of it.
Well, they had no media availability today. That was the question, is like, well, who are you going to put out to speak? Like the president, Dwayne Hankins at this point? Like, is he the one that's,
they'll play dumb, but it's just, again.
If you're Tom Dundon. And
we've never been able to believe anything they said anyway.
No.
So
that is fair.
It's just, the same old story.
I just don't understand how in any shape or form Tom Dundon doesn't look at this.
And by the way, he was there last night.
Yeah.
So he's in town.
He's in town. And so, I mean, we were told, remember when they had the press conference at the start of the year, that even though Jody's still in charge, they are talking to Tom and all that. And, and so Tom can't fire anyone at this point, and I'm not sure that Jody necessarily will. My guess is at this point, Jody's like, hey, man, this is your problem. I mean, you're talking about a weird absentee landlord.
Can he back out of the sale at this point?
Oh, he's not back.
He would.
He's not.
Okay, all right.
Look,
he loves this. This makes it easy for him. He's like, forget it.
Yeah.
You guys are all done.
Yeah.
I'm going to come in and start anew.
Yeah, and by the way, for anyone, like, I get that this is bad, and I get that we're, pearl clutching at this point. And by the way, the NBA investigation by the FBI, brought to you by DraftKings. Use code multiplefelon for $500 off your first bet. Like, I mean, my God, at this point, everything is tied together. But let's not act like this is... Tim Donaghy went to jail for fixing games. No one fixed games here. Like the gambling stuff, the poker stuff is you're just a piece of crap and you're defrauding people and F you. This other stuff, you're just trying to get over on some sports books for a couple $100,000 because again, you got some sleazy friends that are trying to work an illegal angle. But no one was fixing games. So this is not the worst thing to ever happen to sports. But it's the latest thing that happened. Basically what happened here is the same thing that happened to the Alabama baseball coach, right? We've seen this time and time again. But this is not unique. This is not new.
Well, what does that have to do with anything? I mean, it's pretty. I mean, especially when it's the Blazers head coach.
Yes.
Like, I mean,
Yeah.
it's a
No,
big deal.
This is a big deal, but
I hate this team.
But some people are acting like the sport can't recover from this, and like, what does it do to the trust? Nothing. This is not new, nor is this the worst scandal the NBA has ever faced. But it's another one, and it's a growing concern that all sports are going to have to deal with. Is that when you take the gamblers' money. And you have NBA and NFL owners that own stakes in these companies. My God, every broadcast is brought to you by some sort of gambling entity. They have live bet odds that are coming across the screen during every programming. We have stadiums now with sports books attached to them in this country. They decided a number of years ago that to hell with it, we're selling our soul and we want the gambling money. And part of that is you are going to get some of this. And my point is, this probably all existed before it. It's just now that it's coming to light because all this stuff is now watched over. Like back in the day when it was like bookies and whatnot, you could get away with this. But we've talked about it. As bad as this is, at least now you can catch this crap because when a casino sees that $100,000 are bet on a crappy, under of a player that no one gives two S's about, red flags go up and they start investigating. And so guys have been getting caught. So I just think that this stuff has been going on forever. It's just that with each one of these, the growing concern becomes, what do we do about it? And you can't do anything as long as you're willing to take the gambler's money. It's just like these things occasionally are going to pop up. It's just that this one now is out our front door.
You think it's MAGA hat time for Chance?
I'll tell you what. If you've got connections over there, you better start saying that everything's hunky dory.
Well,
and that you're my favorite guy. But he's not facing 30 years in prison or anything like that.
Like 10, maybe less. He's gonna get a couple, and I don't know if it's gonna be like an actual prison or
he's not
summer camp.
He is not staring down. Like he will never be involved in basketball again. But he is not going away for like the rest of his life.
All right. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That is what is going on with the Blazers coach today.
Yeah. It's not good.
It's pretty wild.
You imagine, like, he went to bed last night after that tough loss and was like, man, it was a hell of an effort, but we came short in the offense. And, we just got to find a way. We're like one guy away and all this crap. And then at 6 a.m., that buzzer rang and your whole life changes forever.
The Jailblazers are back.
Hey, there you go.
All right. Well, we should get to the Dan Lanning pregame show, shouldn't we? He's coming up at 4. 15 minutes. 16 minutes. Says here on my Swatch Watch.
You are correct.
All right, we'll do that next on The Fan.
Who's in, who's out?
Why?
This is the Injury Report, brought to you by Zoom Care. Health on your schedule.
Edwards. Pull up, Jay. Got it. Cold-blooded.
Yeah, well, so much for that bad back.
Yeah, turns out Anthony Edwards is just fine. And he was the difference in the game. Down the stretch, Portland couldn't get a bucket, and they couldn't stop Anthony Edwards. So, I mean, he literally, he had 41 last night? That was the difference in the game.
Zoom Care. Hey, with more than 20 neighborhood clinics in Oregon and Southwest Washington, Zoom Care offers convenient access to same-day urgent and emergency care, plus an expanded primary care team. Schedule or learn more at zoomcare.com.
The Portland Trailblazer season started with a twist. Head This is Primetime with Isaac and Suk on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
All right, a couple texts here. Dan Lanning in mere moments, 13 minutes to be exact. He's usually prompt. Text the fan text line, 503-864-6326. Chauncey Billups arrested. Faces 2 federal counts. What is it? Money laundering conspiracy and wire fraud conspiracy.
Yeah.
Each facing each 20 years in the clink, in the slammer.
Yeah.
Go the way of the Diddy.
He won't do 20 years.
40.
He'll cut a deal.
Well, and is that one charge each? Because
And a lot of those sets
each is 20 years.
But
Each carries
they'll
20.
run concurrently, and he'll cut a deal, and he,
Well, what he could do is he could flip. He could flip and start giving up some of the
Gilbert Arenas.
giving up some of the crime bosses, and then end up 6 feet under. If you know what I'm saying.
You remember Gilbert
You
Arenas?
snitch.
Gilbert Arenas was snatched up a couple months ago for being involved in illegal poker games.
yeah, houses that he
Yeah,
owned hosted them.
He was dancing Joker style down the courthouse steps, yelling, "I'm going to snitch!" And then he got caught he was doing bits. He's got a photo of him out there that says informant lunch that he's carrying around. So just do one of those. Pull a Gilbert Arenas. By the way, speaking of gambling scandals, Gilbert Arenas and Javaris Critton had pulled guns on each other in a locker room over a gambling debt. So this is all I'm saying is gambling has been a part of sports. Whether you want to go down the Pete Rose thing, whether you want to go down the Gilbert Arenas, if you want to go back to the Black Sox scandal, gambling, Tim Donaghy, gambling has been a part of sports and always will be. It's just now it's they just beat you over the head with it. And it used to be that the leagues could claim some form of moral high ground because they didn't want anything to do with it. Well, I'll tell you that S is gone because there's not a league that hasn't suckled at the power teat of the almighty gambling dollar.
Couple texts. Longtime criminal defense investigator here. Believe nothing, especially with this FBI.
Oh.
Well, look, there's a twist coming in this.
Yeah.
There is. Because, again, I thought about this morning, and Chauncey did all this.
Yeah.
He knew what he was doing. Chauncey is a bad guy.
Yeah, he is.
That being said, you should expect that this may take some twists and turns that you don't see coming because they always do.
Yeah, I'm just saying, I talked to someone today who is very, very much informed in this. And I was told with absolute certainty that this is not a flimsy throw something against the wall case. That
I'm not saying
they have him dead to rights.
I'm not saying it's flimsy. All I'm saying, because I don't know. Nobody knows. That's the thing. I think that's the point. The point is that the only thing we have to go on right now is what the feds say.
Yeah.
And how often is that a good idea to take our cue?
Yeah.
And I've seen this before too, by the way. Forgive people for being skeptical when they come out and have this same style press conference about taking down college basketball, and nothing came of it.
Yeah.
Now, that's not to say this will happen here, but I'm with that guy in a sense of twists and turns are coming. What those are, no idea. Another one says, hey, be careful what you wish for. There are no Boy Scouts at this level of the food chain. Tom Dundon has a much shadier resume. Yeah, so he's talking about so Dundon made a lot of money off of the what are they called? The auto loan.
Oh,
Subprime loans.
Subprime auto loans.
he did.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't like that about it. And look, there is truth to the idea that you get to this level, there are no Boy Scouts.
No.
That's true. But listen, man, who is not over Jody Allen's reign as Blazers owner? Who is not over that? It's over. Get her out of there. Give me a different bad player.
Yeah.
Well, I don't care anymore. Just finish. Get rid of the ownership group. Get a new ownership group. What is it? The devil you know versus the devil you know. What's the saying? I don't know.
The devil that you know is better than the devil that you don't know.
Well, I don't agree with that.
I was gonna say that
I'll
doesn't-
take the devil that you don't know.
Well, and
Go ahead.
I was gonna
Go
say,
ahead, Schultz. Get in here.
well,
Get in
it's-
here, you big old sexy bastard.
I appreciate
How's
you.
it feel to be a Mariner fan today? Huh?
Hey, you
Hell
don't
of a
Would you
lot
rather
better.
be a Blazers fan or a Mariner fan? Oh, wait, you're both.
I am, but
What a
I'd
great
rather.
day for you.
I'll take my Mariner fandom. I just think that it's as lax as this is to maybe the NBA as a whole, guys. We got to remember this is the biggest, most scandalous thing ever to happen in the history of the Portland Trailblazers. And whether or not the NBA has dealt with betting before as a scandal or not, this is we're looking at the possible dismantling of an organization from the top down to try to fix this. And that has never happened in the NBA before. So as much as this has happened before, I champion everybody to remember, Suk included, like this is a bigger deal regardless of if we see twists coming or not. Like I think we're going to see some more evidence, text messages, videos, recordings. We've heard possibilities of the years-long investigation leading up to this, that there is so much more to drop that we can't even begin to even, like, we won't be able to read it all. It's going to be a lot.
By the way, Chauncey Billups did get arraigned. He has been released from the courthouse in Portland, and
Well, that's a sight.
he will.
Did you hear there's a white Bronco going 10 miles an hour down Burnside?
Are there pictures? I'm going to go look and see if there's pictures.
So he is home. He has to surrender his passport. He cannot go anywhere other than Oregon, Colorado, and to New York for court hearings. And he cannot engage in gambling activities, have firearms, and then of course the travel restrictions. So he can go to home, or he can go to New York. So
Well, he's probably pouring a stiff drink right about now.
that would be my guess. Yes, and talking to lawyers and asking what kind of deal can I get to, try to minimize this the best I can.
Exactly, yeah.
Because they got you, buddy.
What else do I have here? Just going through some texts. A lot of them coming in today.
And it will be interesting to see exactly why he got involved in this. What led to this? Because eventually that stuff will.
Well, he could claim extortion.
Yeah, he could claim extortion and claim that he got deep into something. Other than that, sometimes people just love to be. It's the juice of it, the excitement.
You think the prison teams are excited to get Chance?
It's possible. He'd be in there like
nice point guard to have.
Yeah, I was gonna say him and Jonte Porter in there.
Who gets Chance when he goes to prison?
Yeah. Well, he'll do some nice federal, kind of minimum security thing. And
I know, but which team gets him?
I think he probably flipped for that, right?
Flip.
Yeah.
What is the
I
level
don't think
like?
they're that fair.
Bernie Madoff obviously scammed hundreds of millions of dollars from people. He ended up in prison for life, right? So what is the level of, like, how much money do you have to steal to go to a summer camp versus actual high security maximum, federal prison? I don't really know, because if we're talking tens of millions of dollars and he's a part of that adds up. Like he might not be guaranteed a summer camp here.
Well, we do have. I will say this: we do have an actual lawyer coming on later.
Yeah.
At least I think.
Yeah, we're at 5:15, we believe.
They have not gotten back to us yet. We are efforting.
Okay,
according to our brand manager.
Her name is Amy Dash. She is the Odyssey pays her to be our sports legal expert.
Yes.
Like, look at Odyssey spending cash.
I think we've been on a conference call with Amy before.
And she's going to come in handy today. Yeah. And all these questions about, like, see what Schultze just said. Like, I don't know, dude. I don't know any. Yeah. Like, we're all. It's just beyond our pay grade to think about what will end up happening here. Yeah. But she may be able to shed light on that, and that'll be at 5:15. Coming up next, though, is our weekly visit with Oregon coach Dan Lanning.
And now for something completely different.
Or will it be? Maybe we'll pin him down. What if he has Chauncey Billups poker game stories?
I'm going to go ahead and not ask that question.
Yeah, some journalist you are.
Yeah, I don't have that one in my hip pocket.
All right, the coach is next here on 105.1 The Fan.
Odyssey Sports Station. Primetime with Isaac and Suk.
What do girls want anyway? Well, apparently not total losers. We're pretty good at basketball. Yeah, as long as we don't have to run or jump or dribble or nothing.
Isaac Robb.
Hey, you guys up for a little game?
Sure.
Well, let's make it interesting. Say $20.
How about 50?
You're on.
Jason Sukanik.
Dude, we don't have $50. We don't have 20.
This is Primetime on the Fan Sports Network.
What the hell's up with that? We win, and they get the chips. That sucks, dude.
105.1 and 1080.
Dude, I'm telling you, it's jobs. We gotta get jobs. Then we get the khakis. Then we get the chicks.
The Fan.
All right, welcome back. It is Isaac and Suk here on 105.1 The Fan. Coming up on Saturday, you'll be able to hear Oregon take on Wisconsin, and it's time now for our weekly visit with the coach, Dan Lanning. Coach, can you read us?
Yeah, how you guys doing?
Good. How's your week?
Been good. It's been a good week.
When you average
All good.
11 yards a carry, I'm guessing that probably leads to some good film session.
Yeah, certainly does. Yeah, there's some good film there. There's some stuff to attack as well.
So as far back as you can recall, is that the best your team has ever run the ball in any game ever?
Yeah, I'd probably say that's pretty high up there. Yeah, I can't think of one that's been. I thought our coaches had a great scheme for that game. Had a good plan for what they do and attacked it well.
How much can you anticipate a performance like that coming based on the week of practice?
I would say you can't necessarily. You feel good about a game plan as you go in, but usually the games that we play the best, sometimes those are the ones I feel the most nervous about. You hope it goes the way you think it'll go, but it doesn't always play out that way.
I mean, coming off a tough loss, and we've seen what happened after you guys had that great game against Penn State, and Penn State had a hangover there. And how important is it to get back on the horse and have a game like that to kind of wash away a bad taste in your mouth or a tough game?
Yeah, in my mind, we never got off of it. We had to point in the wrong direction for a second. We just had to point in the right direction. So, ultimately, it's important to get back, on track, as you'd say. And for us, it's okay. What do we do well? How can we improve that? And how's that match up with the team that we're about to play? Which they're a lot different than what we saw the week before, but we felt like we had a good idea of what things might look like and how we could attack it.
And I saw that there was some shuffling of the O-line a little bit. Was that just kind of an individual game thing, or is that something that, going forward we might see, a couple different rotations maybe there on the right side?
I think you can always see rotations. Our challenge is always to say, how can we get the five best O-line guys on the field, and then also have answers for ourselves if things don't go exactly as planned. If somebody gets injured, what's that look like? And I think it's important to get valuable reps for players in those moments.
This is Dan Lanning, Oregon coach, with us here on 105.1 The Fan. Well, this Wisconsin team has not scored in a couple weeks, and I don't mean this, to make fun of them or anything. But how do you guard against with your players taking them too lightly when they have not been putting many points on the board?
Yeah, I think you just try to point out the truth. If you actually truly watch the film of Wisconsin, you'll see a ball bouncing the wrong way at some point, or an injury that was, a little bit a surprise within the game. And it's tough when you have injuries in the middle of games that you're not anticipating, and that changes your game plan. And I think they've been hit with a little bit of that. And so now with a week to prepare, an idea of who they're going to be able to operate with, I think it's a different team than necessarily, showed up the last 2 weeks. And what they have done well is played well on special teams. They've done a good job on defense of knowing what they want to be able to give up and what they want to take away. They've always been really good at taking away the run game. Certainly there's some different quarterbacks that we could see in this game, and they operate differently based on who's in, different backs. So it's a challenge for us of a little bit the unknown.
How much of it is when you look at the personnel? Because last year you guys went on the road to Wisconsin and they were not having a great year, and they gave you guys a real tough game, drug you guys into the fourth quarter.
Yeah. Well, I think that's just a great indication about how college football is tough and it has parity, and every week can be different. And, we were in an absolute battle with this group last year. They did a really good job defending us, and we did some really good job, defending them, but different coordinator this year on offense, so different scheme that we're going against, different package. And it's just a great example of what you did last week doesn't really matter. It's time to pay rent again this week.
I got to ask you, because I was listening to the press conference that you had earlier, and I just, you kind of alluded to it, but I need confirmation. When the original Grateful Dead uniforms came out, were they full tie-dye? And was it you that looked at that and said, yeah, no, we can't do this?
It was a little stronger than I was anticipating, and we had to change it up. And, this week I've kind of rededicated myself to saying, okay, I need to know a little bit more about this group. They've done a lot for Oregon, and I've been listening. There's a lot more of their songs that I know than I realized.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's one of those groups that you don't know. I don't know the name of every song, but when you put it on, you're like, oh yeah, I know that song. And then there's a couple that other bands later on in life have covered, and made it kind of their song, like Uncle John's Band, I think, is one of them. Like, I always remember that as a Jimmy Buffett song. I didn't realize that was Grateful Dead first, so there's, yeah, it's been fun to go through, but yes, the uniforms look a little bit different than they did when they initially came out.
Well, thank you. That was my fear. Because I really like what you guys do, and I think you guys hit it out of the park. I was terrified when I heard that there was a Grateful Dead night, that this was going to be full tie-dye. And I was
I
scared.
think you guys have asked me before, how do we decide what jerseys we wear? And I told you, hey, I don't really decide. I just say no if it's a little strong. and it might have been a little strong to start, but we kind of dialed it back in, and I like the way they turned out.
Yeah, it looks sharp. Now, is this the first time you've said dial it back, or have you had to do this before?
No, I've done this. Yeah, we've done that. We've done that before.
Yeah. All right.
So you knew Touch of Grey, right?
Yeah. Touch of Grey,
Truckin'. Yeah.
Casey Jones.
Yep.
I
love
Uncle
Ripple.
John's Band.
I think Ripple's a really good tune, actually. And
I mean, they got some good tunes, man. And what's fun was you turn them on, and you're like, okay, describe this band. What's the genre? And it's like, I don't know, which I think is part of what's so cool about Grateful Dead, right? It's not folk, it's not rock, it's not. I mean, even some of them sound like country. It's not country. I mean, it's its own. It's one of one, which is pretty unique.
Yeah, I've always said that I can appreciate the jam bands, but I can't have like a 37-minute song. It was once described to me as like every jam band seems like 5 stepdads that don't know how to end a song. I can appreciate it, but at some point, I don't need a 17-minute bass solo. That's my only. I never could fully embrace it, but I can appreciate the impact, the cultural impact of it.
That seems fair and very reasonable to me. I think that's a very reasonable request.
How many? So we were thinking about this in your 3.5 years or whatever. How many bad weather games have you had at Autzen? Because it doesn't seem like there have been many.
Yeah. No, we've been fortunate. I always think back to Cal. I think it was my second year. Cal, my second year, we had some weather. And then I thought the Indiana game had a chance to have some, and it didn't end up being that way. So this might be number 2.
Yeah, they're saying.
But who knows? It never rains in Austin. Like if you told me we got out there and it rained like outside the stadium, but it never made it in the stadium, I would be shocked.
Hey, can you get Nike to work on some sort of parachute? When you were a kid, you did the parachute in like PE, like some sort of tarp we can put over the top.
Tie dye.
Well, I think that this could present a fun challenge for our team, and the weather could be different, and it might not be as enjoyable as a fan, but. I mean, you remember being a kid and going out inside and playing in the rain. Like, maybe it can be that moment, right? Maybe we can all say for a second, like, hey, let's pause for a little bit and realize how blessed we are to get to go be outside in the rain, get to play a football game. I don't know what it'll look like, but whatever it is, like, let's go attack it and realize this might be a one-on-one moment and have some fun with it.
Yeah, it can be fun. It's like, have you ever played or coached in a really good snow game?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I remember being in 3rd grade, and it was a snow kind of sleet game, and afterwards you were freezing cold, but it was some of the most fun I've ever had as a kid. It was the Steelers versus the Cowboys there in Little League, and it was an absolute battle, and you're drenched wet, and you get in your dad's truck afterwards and drive home, and you're cold and shivering, but in the game you remember all those moments of plays and tackles and catches, and like that's fun, man. That'll sit with you forever.
Yeah, when I was with the Buccaneers, we were getting ready to go play the Eagles in the playoffs, and that was like warm weather going into cold weather was always like a big deal, and we would dunk balls into like ice baths, and we had to put our feet like into cold water, and it would chill you, and like we did that like the leading up to that. and we like had
Right.
some stuff like that to try to like, prepare yourself. When you know you're going to get something like that, do you guys do anything at practice with dunking balls or anything to try to be like, hey guys, this may be what it's like?
Yeah, I mean, we've certainly tried to expose them to those moments. I was in charge of, I got the super soaker today when we were out there
Oh,
at practice,
nice.
and had some fun with that, man. Yeah, it was good.
This one kicks off at 4. What is the ideal kickoff time for a coach?
Yeah, whenever the whistle blows, we don't care.
Okay.
That is the ultimate.
I knew
coach.
you were going to
Yeah.
say that.
Yeah, sickness is
What
a
do you want me to
choice.
say?
Kick
I
time
mean,
is a choice.
recruiting wise is probably beneficial for us more in the afternoon or at night, just because it allows more people to be able to travel here and get here for a game.
Okay.
So I guess that would be ideal.
Okay.
But I don't care. Put it wherever you want. We'll play.
Yeah, well, the tailgate scene, that's a big deal. We need proper time.
But why not just tailgate a little bit earlier? Like, hey, instead of, if it's an early game, like, let's do breakfast burritos. Maybe
That's what I think. Yep.
make some, do something fun,
See,
right? Like start the tailgate at 3 a.m. Like, why not?
Oh, see, that's now we're talking.
Exactly.
Hey,
12:30 kick. I'll be out there at 4 a.m. Perfect. Give me to
Right,
bed
get
by
the
8.
brisket going, whatever. Smoke something the night before. Like, that could be so much fun.
What time does Dan Lanning
Opportunity.
What time does Dan Lanning wake up during the season?
It just depends on the day. Early in the week, earlier. Nothing super crazy. 5 a.m., 5:30, depending, and then sometimes later in the week. 5:45. Nothing crazy.
Coffee right out of the gate, or what do we do?
Yeah. I'm a coffee guy.
Black coffee?
Yeah, I drink a lot of coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah,
me
black.
too. How many cups will
My
you
wife
drink?
did give me some new, like there was a pumpkin flavored black coffee. It's not bad. I thought I wasn't going to be it's got a little bit of something to it, but it's just black with, I guess, tastes like pumpkins,
Now,
but it's all right.
now at the house, I assume you have a really nice home coffee maker.
Keurig? Yeah, just a nice Keurig. You put the cup in and hit
Oh.
the button.
You go Keurig. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, it's easy, man. Nobody else in my house is drinking coffee, so why would you make a pot?
I see.
We have this machine, but I may have used it twice, but I just use the Keurig. Yeah.
Okay, well, hey, thanks for checking in again. Good luck against Wisconsin, and we'll talk to you next week. Thanks, Coach.
Sounds good. Have a good one, guys.
All right, see you later.
Practical man.
Yeah. See, I knew there was a nicer one in there.
Yeah.
He just doesn't know how to use it.
Well,
And they're not using it.
No.
So he's just like, this is easier.
Well, I've said we have a Keurig and we have a really nice one.
Yeah.
What is it? Nespresso?
Nespresso. Okay.
Espresso?
Yeah, so it's like one of those.
Yeah,
You
it's
can
like-
make all kinds of.
Yeah, and
fun
dude,
stuff.
I
So
have
it's complicated.
and I don't drink coffee, and so I feel bad. I've told you when I have like guests that sleep over, and like I want to offer them like a cup of coffee, and I don't know how to make it. It's very confusing, so I have to go to the Keurig. That's like the only thing I can offer you.
Yeah.
But everyone else in the house is insulted if I try to make them a Keurig. But
So Dan Lanning. Well,
the
when it
pumpkin's a bit of an upset though.
when it comes to coffee people, I think that there's two types. One is the type that really likes good coffee
The
and
others-
different coffees,
and then the caffeine, right?
and then the other one just wants the zip.
Yeah.
And he just wants the zip.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't care about the fancy coffee maker.
Yeah.
I'll just throw in the Keurig and I'm good.
Drink a couple cups of black coffee, you rip a couple Zins, and like, hey man, we're up.
That's right.
By the way, I was thinking that was like a 4:15. I was ready for like a 4:15, 4:30 sort of guy. I'm a little surprised that's that number starts.
Are you
with a
saying
5.
he's not working hard enough?
I'm just, he just has the sort of mentality that I would think that sleep is a choice. And Schwarzenegger said this once. Someone asked Schwarzenegger about sleeping habits or whatever. And he said, if you need 8 hours of sleep, just sleep a little faster. And I that seems like a Dan Lanning sort of thing. Yeah, I need my sleep. Well, just sleep a little faster. You'll be fine.
Dan Lanning's appearances here on 105.1 The Fan every Thursday at 4 are brought to you by Philbrook Law. Other lawyers fight for clicks. Philbrook Law fights for wins. Philbrook Law, accident and injury lawyers, your local law team.
And someone is saying, did Dan Lanning play in the Pheasant Bowl? That
Well,
third
he
grade?
did say Cowboys versus Steelers.
Yeah.
And do you remember the two teams that played in the Pheasant Bowl
Was
when I
it
played?
Cowboys, Steelers?
I was a Steeler.
Did
We
Dan,
played the Cowboys.
Did Dan Lanning play in the? Do we?
Well, probably. It's
is
a big
he
game.
Is he a Pheasant Bowl legend?
It's a big game.
Wow.
That's probably how he knew of me.
Yeah, the whole Pheasant Bowl. playing
Falling
in the,
on that fumble.
playing in the snow and ice. Although, no offense, but it does bother me a little bit that at Autzen, because it's an outdoor stadium, that it's turf. Like, it should be a grass field. If it, because if you want to have a true outdoor snow and ice rain game, that should be grass.
Well, you're not going to get much snow and ice.
No,
but it's supposed to be bad on.
Yeah.
Well, what is today? Thursday.
Thursday.
Yeah, it's supposed to be bad Saturday.
Yeah, they said 90% chance of rain at kick, and
it's going to be windy.
and it is going to be coming down.
Windy.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, I find it absurd that you have an outdoor stadium. You have an outdoor stadium with turf. What are you doing?
Doesn't it drain better than actual grass, though?
Again, you're a multi-billion-dollar operation. NFL, college football, put a grass field in. They all practice on grass. Grass is better. There's something great, like when you get a game in the rain or whatever, and like you get tackled and you go sliding through, and now your jersey's got the big. You get the mud and the grass. It works better. Abolish turf. If you're indoors, there's nothing you can do about it. But man, you're outdoors. Get some grass.
Well, for a brief 12 minutes, we forgot about the Blazers coach being arrested.
Yeah.
That was a really nice palate cleanser.
It was.
I must say,
it
gents,
was.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well,
You're
now
welcome, Mariners guy.
And now I've got the big Red Wings Islanders game on. So, we're down 1-0.
Yeah. So we got the Chargers and Vikings tonight.
Yeah.
That's good.
By the way, looks like both tackles for the Chargers finally are going to be back. Now, not Slater, but yeah.
They need him against the Vikes. The Vikes blitz the hell out of them.
Yeah, and the Chargers' offensive line the last couple weeks has just been an abomination.
Yeah.
So,
hey, how about an open sports seggy?
Let's do it.
You want that?
Yeah.
Coming up next, you're on 105.1 The Fan.
Dirt Isaac and Suk on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
Well, I teased an open segment, but I figured out during the break what we should do here.
Okay.
And I think it's because we're going to get back to the Chance Billups story at the top of the hour. And, well, I mean, look.
I know. We have to do it.
It's a big deal.
It's a huge deal.
But I did want to corkscrew a little Wisconsin in here because Oregon plays Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm.
And he was mentioning, I've got a clip of Barry Alvarez, which I'm going to play in a second. It's kind of surprising that Luke Fickell is still their coach.
Yeah.
But perhaps they just don't want to buy him out.
Yeah. Or just wait to the end of the year,
But Lanning was talking about, how guys go down, and then that can really, if they go down, like you game plan, and then you lose your quarterback during the game, that is very different than having to go to your backup quarterback with a week to prepare for a game.
Yes.
And that's kind of what he was alluding to. They've had a lot of quarterback problems at Wisconsin. So Wisconsin last year was 5-7. Mm-hmm. This year they have started 2-5.
Yeah.
And I believe they've lost 5 in a row.
They have. They have not won I do not believe they've won a Big Ten game.
So they lost their starting quarterback. His name was Billy Edwards in the very first game. It was a knee sprain. Well, and Fickell has admitted that he brought him back too soon. So he missed a couple of games. Then he comes back. He gets hurt again. And they have not seen him since. So Billy Edwards, every week there's kind of this like, well, is Billy Edwards going to come back? It doesn't sound like he's anywhere close to playing. So then they put in Danny O'Neal, and he had one good start, but then he absolutely was terrible against Alabama and against Maryland. So then they turned to this guy named Hunter Simmons. He's a transfer from Southern Illinois.
It's not good either.
That's not been good. And now they're talking about possibly going all the way down to a kid.
Billy Edwards, right?
Oh, no, he was the starter. Carter Smith, the 4-star. There's a 4-star true freshman. He was a late recruit in the 2025 class. He has been with them since the spring, and they're already asking Luke Fickell if he might play. And Fickell's probably like, "Well, I mean, I don't know. Sure, why not? Well, can't be any worse."
Luke Fickell has been 7-6, 5-7, and 2-5 on his way to So the idea
and
is,
he's an offensive coach, isn't he?
I
think he was.
What Luke Fickell's background was. There is
so weird.
There is something in the water.
Yes.
Like, for instance, Iowa. Do you know Iowa has not thrown a touchdown pass in Big Ten play? Not a single one. Not one.
No, he was a defensive guy. Sorry,
he's a defensive guy.
Yeah.
So Iowa, by Pro Football Focus, which is not the god of college football or pro football, but it gives you a rough idea. The number 1 ranked offensive line in college football is Iowa. So they have time. They run the ball well. They play great defense. I believe that there is some sort of voodoo curse in the Midwest. If you go to Iowa or Wisconsin, you can't play quarterback. If Patrick Mahomes were to somehow suddenly go and be the quarterback at Wisconsin, would he suck? Same thing in Iowa.
Well, NFL teams have this too.
How can they not?
The Browns.
Yeah, how can they not find a single quarterback?
The Browns got Deshaun Watson, and he still sucked.
That is true. There's Indian Burial Ground thing.
There's something going on.
There's something.
So here, I wanted to play this for you. It's about 2 minutes. It's Barry Alvarez, and he was on the ESPN Madison Badgers coaches show. Yeah. So they don't even put the coach on there now. They just go to Barry Alvarez.
Well, no one wants to hear Luke Fickell talk. Lick Fukel. No one wants to hear Luke just ask the same question. Are you going to get fired 1,000 times over?
Well, apparently he's quite the red ass.
What?
Fickell.
No.
But I wanted to play this because it sheds a little light on what they're saying up there about what's gone wrong with Luke Fickell. This is Barry Alvarez. And the other voices you'll hear are the hosts from the ESPN Madison.
We're trying to create interest, and then once we had interest, then whatever you're looking for, you had an avenue to get to a lot of people about what you wanted and tell your story and press some flesh with a lot of fans, so they know you personally. They know the head coach. They know the assistant coaches. Our guy, you just can't sit back and say, we need this, we need that, we need that. Get out in the state and let the people meet you and sell the program. Know who you are. And this state will embrace you. They did.
Luke Fickell is a good man.
You did it in 1990, Coach.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Luke Fickell, all they claim they want to know him, and and you meet Luke, and you automatically think, hey, this is a football guy. He's a wrestler. He's a football player.
No question.
He's in the trenches.
He's dedicated.
He loves
committed.
the kids. He loves football. He loves, and so all he's got to do is, get out there, and the support will.
I
will
think
come.
You have to now more than ever.
Yeah.
There is no recourse.
So I think we've gone away from that within the department. We used to do it all the time, and I think we got away from it a little bit. And I think another road trip around the state, that's what we used to call it. We'd load everybody up in a van. I'd take all the coaches, Bo, myself. We take about 4 head coaches and some administrators, and we'd go out and we'd press palms. We'd go out and meet with people. We'd talk about our program, and we would tell them what our problems are. But they knew us, and they knew the people, and they knew them firsthand, and they can tell their friends, and that goodwill goes a long way.
Yeah, so that's just a little, just sort of insight into what they're thinking up there. Wisconsin's different.
Yeah.
It's a different state.
Mm-hmm.
That program, they care a lot about that program, but if you're the head coach of that program, I think what Barry's saying, there's some traction to that. You got to get out there and drum up the support and get the local, the big uglies,
Yeah,
the big offensive linemen. They grow up there. You got to get off your ass and get up there. And it sounds like they're kind of calling out Lick Fukel for not doing that,
Yeah.
and that's part of the problem with why he's struggling at Wisconsin.
And I do remember when he got hired, and they've abandoned it since, but he took some flack because he went to the air raid. He was like, "No, we're gonna bring the air raid to Wisconsin," and that's sacrilegious up in those parts. Wisconsin is about the big uglies and running the ball. Again, not a great quarterback factory up there, and it was so bad. And I'm sure that pissed some people off. And so if you're going to go to the air raid and you fall on your face, and now he's gone, back to the whole, they brought in Jeff Grimes, and who used to be the BYU offensive coordinator.
Dude, Jeff Grimes is terrible. I do not understand why that guy keeps getting jobs. He was at KU, so you had him at BYU.
We had him at BYU.
We've talked about him before.
Yeah.
He is objectively terrible everywhere he goes, and he continues to get work. Why?
So there's this idea that he has pissed off so many people at Wisconsin, and it is true. Like, there is something. Who was the coach at UW that got S-canned?
Jimmy Lake.
Jimmy Lake. Jimmy Lake was like this. Trent Bray was like this. Some of these coaches that come in and just have this idea that they don't have to kind of embrace the high school programs and the tradition there, you are basically slitting your own throat. If you come in and do that, you better be Chip Kelly. You better come out of the gate winning 11 games right off the bat, because if you don't, you can be an a-hole and rub people the wrong way when you're winning 10, 11 games, and people will think you're colorful and they'll look the other way. But when you come in and you rub people the wrong way and you're not willing to kind of go out and do the glad handing and you struggle, man, they come for you. And right now at Wisconsin, that's what he's talking about, is no one gives a rip about this program and they just want you gone. And I just, if you're at Wisconsin, I have no idea how you keep him. So I looked at it, it's about a $25 million buyout that they owe him at the end of this year. So honestly, if I was Wisconsin, dude, fire him and go hire James Franklin. James Franklin may not be the end-all, the be-all, but if James Franklin did at Wisconsin what he did at Penn State, they would love him there. Win 10 games every year and be in contention and make a playoff. So if I'm Wisconsin, I fire Luke Fickell's ass tomorrow and go ask James Franklin if he would like to move a state or two over and go somewhere where he's appreciated.
Lick Fukel to Oregon State?
Yeah. Wow, the old Luke.
Would you want Lick Fukel at
No,
Oregon State?
I don't.
I don't think I would either.
I've said it time and time again. If you're Oregon State, one, get rid of Scott Barnes and do the whole flush the system. When you have a rotten tree, just cut the tree down and plant a new one. This idea of trying to salvage it, this is like what the Blazers. Don't get rid of Joe Cronin, get rid of everyone, and just new owner, new everything, start anew. Oregon State needs to get rid of Scott Barnes and stop trying to hold on to the past and stop trying to get someone that's going to be a lifer there and do what smaller programs do and go hire the next fun and exciting, young, energetic coach. Go get the guy out of Sac State that was UNLV's offensive coordinator that runs like that go-go offense. Go find someone that is young and is enthusiastic, that gets people fired up and slings the ball around the yard and puts points on the ball or the board and up tempo type stuff. Stop trying to find the guy that's he needs to understand Corvallis and needs to have beaver ties. Stop that crap and stop retreads. Don't hire Fickle or Fukel. Don't go get Matt Wells. Go pick a fresh fruit as opposed to getting something that's already fallen off the ground that no one else wanted.
All right, it's time for In the News, a wild scene at the Blazers practice facility today.
Yeah.
We'll get to that. Coming up next, here's Schultze.
Now, from the George McCoy and Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
This update is brought to you by Mountaintop Metal Roofing. No maintenance, energy efficient, fire resistant, and a lifetime warranty. Do it once, do it right. Visit mountaintopmetalroofing.com. First on the fans, some big news here in Portland today. Trailblazers head coach Chauncey Billups arrested by the FBI for participation in illegal poker games with ties to the mob. According to indictments, Billups is being charged with money laundering and wire fraud conspiracy. He was taken into custody this morning. Around the same time, Heat guard Terry Rozier was arrested as part of an overlapping investigation into illegal sports betting. So in response, the NBA placing both Billups and Rozier on administrative leave until further notice, and the team has named assistant Tiago Splitter as their interim coach. Former player and Cavaliers assistant coach Damon Jones also among 34 total people arrested. He allegedly disclosed privileged info about LeBron James' injuries to facilitate illegal sports betting. And there is still football going on tonight, Week 8 of the NFL, kicking off with Thursday Night Football in L.A. The Chargers host the Vikings. L.A. a 4.5-point favorite. Kickoff at 5:15 on Amazon Prime. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Schultze from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Aren't missing work? Insurance companies acting like jerks? Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
The home of Ducks Game Day. Before and after every Ducks football game this season. The Fan Sports Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
All right, it is October 23, 2025. It is time now for In the News. I'm your noted newsman. Hello, thank you. Been chasing the Chauncey Billups story all day. I have nothing new to report.
No correspondence checking in with you right now.
Well, Sook's broken some news on the Chaunce.
I happened to just, it was the most random thing in the world that I happened to run into someone that I know who has direct ties to the that whole investigation.
Yeah, and you said, he did not know this was coming.
No, they did not. They had him under surveillance 24/7 for the last 3 to 4 days. They executed it. They actually wanted to do it earlier than 6 a.m. because the other arrests were being made, and the fear was that obviously people would get tipped off, but they decided to do 6, and they showed up at his house with the full-on team with the Bearcat ready to go in case he didn't want to answer the door. They were in the gate. They were prepared to remove the gate and the door, but they did not need to do that. But when I asked, did he have any idea? They said absolutely not. But when I then kind of asked, did he know what you guys were there for? He kind of smiled and was like, I think he had a pretty good idea once we showed up.
What?
Yeah.
What are you guys doing here? What? What?
He said this was a really long and detailed. This came out in New York, but this was a very long, detailed case that they had been working years and years and years and years on, and then it kind of got roped into the Pacific Northwest because of obviously where Chauncey lives.
Is he in Waco or is he in West Lynn?
I don't know.
I can't remember which neighborhood he's.
No idea.
But we had a glimpse of him today. We got him leaving the court. He's front page of the Oregon Live. He's wearing a nice hoodie. Nice
Clutch Sports.
Yeah, Clutch Sports. So basically, he was arraigned. He's got his next hearing, I think, in November. It's like November 20th something. But he had to surrender his passport. He cannot travel anywhere other than Oregon and Colorado. And then he can go to New York for court cases. So he is basically under house arrest at this point. Can't travel anywhere. He can't gamble. Shocking. Can't own firearms. So there are some conditions. But
what if he's dropping a couple dimes on the Chargers tonight?
You gotta be real dumb to real dumb to do that.
Just in case you're not aware of this story, Chauncey was arrested this morning. He was what they call a face card to lure in big money poker players to rigged poker games run by the mafia. So he is facing 2 counts. Federal charges, one of money laundering conspiracy, the other wire fraud conspiracy. Apparently, he got 50 G on one occasion. He got 50,000 to lure in this whale that they took a bunch of money from. Apparently, one guy lost like 1.8 million in one game.
Yeah.
So it was a big deal. He and Damon Jones, former NBA player and assistant coach, were the guys that were kind of used to lure in the money, and they were a part of the scheme. They were sometimes told to win, sometimes told to lose, sometimes told to watch other players that were, in the know of what the cards were. And it was just it is a wild story. Not only that, Chauncey was tipping off gambling rings to benching players in the Blazers game against the Bulls in March of 2023.
The tanking season.
And so, and that was before that information was public.
And they did gamble. Those bets were placed, and they did win to the tune of $100,000+. And he's not named in that, but he's.
But he is named.
He is named. It's like he's co-conspirator 8, and it says in there that his name is known to the grand jury, but he is a former NBA player, now current NBA coach that lives in Portland. Yeah, that's Chauncey. So I mean, at this point.
Chauncey Babes.
They got him dead to rights.
What are you doing?
Well, what he's doing is never coaching or being a part of the NBA ever again.
Did you see what the FBI called the investigation?
Yeah.
Operation Royal Flush.
Yeah.
I laughed very, very hard when it was like, okay.
And read through some of the aliases that are involved in this.
Dude,
like it is.
And the mob guys?
Yes.
Johnny Two Gloves?
Hey!
Is Two Gloves really?
Yeah,
yes.
Dude, I have a list. I'll read them to you later.
By the way, it was 31 people arrested across 11 states, and
huge deal.
It was a big deal.
It is National Boston Cream Pie Day.
Oh, I love a good Boston cream pie.
Yeah, I do too.
It's my wife's favorite.
It is also National Horror Movie Day. What do you think is the best horror movie? Or what's your favorite horror movie?
I think the best one of all time is probably the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That kind of gets the gold standard of the best horror movie ever. The original Halloween is really, really good. I like horror movies. I don't like the new, I call them horror porn. Like Saw, it's like torture porn. They're not.
It's just gratuitous.
It's just gratuitous. Yeah. It's just, so I like the old school horror movies with that. So Halloween is probably my favorite set of those movies. Then you get into like Friday the 13th and all that stuff, but.
They were saying it was a surreal scene at the Trailblazers practice facility today. Of course, we all woke up and saw Chauncey being arrested, and we're like, wait, what the hell? So it's been kind of a long day of getting information. Well, the Blazers were nowhere to be found, shockingly.
No.
And I want to read you this from Oregon Live. Ryan Clark put this out. He said, the food delivery courier didn't know where she was supposed to go. She appeared to be carrying nothing but cakes in a bright blue bag. The treats were destined for the Trailblazers practice facility, but the door was locked and no one was around to open it. The Larry O'Brien trophy sat inside in a glass case. Was it an employee's birthday today of all days? Blazer coach Chauncey Billups arrested, charged with money laundering, wire fraud. At the Blazers practice facility with Billups and a different kind of court across town in Portland, it was mostly business as usual. The building did not come down beneath the weight of the news for the city's beloved professional sports enterprise. Players came and went. Through the window, they could be seen getting up shots. Damian Lillard left the facility in his forest green Tesla Cybertruck. Did you know he drove a Cybertruck?
I did not.
That knocks him down a peg in my day.
Cybertruck?
I heard Scoot bought one. I didn't know
Forest
Dame bought
Green.
one.
Oh, Forest Green. I don't know why I heard one.
Who bought one?
Scoot. We heard Scoot bought one.
He's
year.
got one too.
Yes, Cybertruck driver Scoot Henderson.
That is the worst looking.
God, I can't believe people drive those.
He's going to
things.
that lake with the Cybertruck.
Those are so bad.
They are ugly as hell. Ugly as hell.
Rookie center Yang Han-sen ran goofily from the building to his new BMW X5.
I like
It's
that
a
we're
used
just.
BMW X5, actually. Yeah. Yeah, it's a used car. No, everyone's like, oh, Young Hansen, he's a man of the people. He bought a new used car.
Wait, is it Young Hansen? Is that right? Did I pronounce it wrong?
Yes.
Young Hansen?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
I do like
I
that
said
everyone's cars are getting outed. Like, it's just.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But according to Schultz, breaking a little news there. It's a used BMW X5.
That's sensible man. But
Presumably, having been warned of the media lurking across the street, others kept their heads down and hoods up. Trailblazers employees paced in the parking lot, some on their phones in animated conversations. At one point, a group of them was gathered in the lobby inside the facility for a discussion. Any attempt to speak with players or coaches emerging from the facility were rebuffed by security. The same was true for those trying to get autographs, as a handful of fans waited outside the parking lot near players' cars.
Oh, dude, it's awkward for everybody. At some point, someone's going to have to rip the Band-Aid off and come out and speak.
That's classic Blazers to handle it that way.
It is. I just go back to, we were told by Cronin and his old boss when Chauncey Billups was hired, and there was some ethical things that were brought up about him, rape. We were told to move on. It wasn't a deal, that they vetted him. And when asked how they vetted him, they said it was proprietary. Basically, don't worry about it. Well, turns out, by the way, that there has been knowledge of Chauncey Billups' involvement in these sorts of things for years. So either you knew and ignored it, or you didn't know and your vetting process is crap. Either way, that front office right now looks like a bunch of clowns. It's not a good day over there at One Center Court. And your silence is dead.
Yeah, thanks, Tips.
Yeah.
By the way, the Tiago Splitter era has begun tomorrow night. He is the new interim Trailblazers basketball coach.
How many coaches in the NBA are going to be the former posterization victims of LeBron? Because he is one. He, very famously, when he was a Spur, got dunked on in, God, I think it was the finals or something like that. It was a big game.
Well, I hope he can coach.
By the way, Josina Anderson had a tweet today, which I enjoyed. She said, I just got a text from one NBA GM regarding the arrests. Chauncey Billups is one of the greatest humans I know. He will be fine.
Oh, there's a clip, I'm going to have to go grab it, of former NBA coach Sam Mitchell of the Raptors defending Chauncey, saying he will not believe these charges until he sees evidence.
Well, I'll tell you what, Albanian Bruce believes those charges, which is another one of the names, which I love.
Wow.
I'm gonna start calling you Albanian Rop.
I am not Albanian. Anyway, yeah, look, I mean, it's a whole thing, but I guess we'll wait and see what happens.
Yeah.
This is just shocking. I'm still in
Yeah,
shock.
it
I don't
is
know about
kind
you
of.
guys. Yeah.
It really is shocking. Like, I was thinking about that while I was squirting at the last break. I'm like, my God, what are we even covering right now?
It's just everyone woke up to the
Jesus.
same thing today.
Blazers.
Like, what in the hell? Like, we were all prepared to talk about like game one, and you blew it at the end, but there was a lot of positive signs there, and then when I heard arrest, I assumed either DUI or maybe a domestic thing. That's usually, when you hear a coach is arrested. I wasn't expecting, along with 30 others, in a 4-year federal sting. I'm like, wow.
Well, this is what they mean when they call it war-torn Portland.
Yeah. I took a stroll through war-torn Portland last night, and let me tell you, there was a lot of percussion going on.
How'd you survive?
Yeah, it was tough. And that was it was late at night.
Well, at least, I was talking to Buck today about this because he's now on TV.
Yeah.
And he was like, dude, I think all of these TV people are so happy to not be covering chicken suit guy and frog guy down at ice. They finally have something different to cover.
No doubt. I will say I'm not trying to wish for the demise of anybody, but this kind of stuff, man, these topics, is why I got into sports radio. This is the stuff.
It's Schulte embracing.
No, I'm not
Embrace
embracing
the horror. Let's go.
Chauncey being
days
a
like
D.
today that make me grateful to do what I do.
I'm embracing
Not
the
me.
scandal
No,
that
I'm
surrounds
with you, man.
sports.
I want to tell fart jokes.
Exactly.
I want to
ditto to
play
that.
fart noises.
I want to talk about again my midnight stroll through
Yeah.
war-torn Portland.
Listen, this derailed you should see my notes. They're completely derailed. Thanks a lot, Chauncey. I had a good show planned today.
Why have we been singled out for the greatest suffering that humanity has ever known?
That's right.
What sort of horse crap is this?
Somebody said, you think Hansen thought it was ice? God.
Well, doesn't he have a work visa?
The ice jokes.
Hey, lay off the big tariff, all right? He had 5 big minutes
He
last night.
sucked last night, by
God.
the way.
What, he had
How
2
bad
points?
is that guy? Nice draft pick, Cronin. Jesus, what are we doing over there?
I have faith in the big tariff and his Schulte with his used X5 hot take. Calling out Hansen for driving the nerve, the audacity to drive a used BMW.
All right.
If he fits in that thing.
I've got a story, and perhaps it was Buck. It probably was Buck. There is a man who is breaking into homes in Beaverton and sleeping with women. Well, I mean, hopping into bed with women. Do you think it was Buck? It was probably Buck.
The hell is going on right now?
War torn, man.
Man.
All hell's breaking loose.
It is. The streets are wilding out there.
We'll get to that next on In the News here on The Fan.
The college football playoff hunt is heating up. Primetime with Isaac and Suk on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
All right, we have time for one more story here on In the News, October 23, 2025. Your noted newsman here, news contributor Jason Sakanik. We are having a day. It's brought to you by the Advocates, injury attorneys at advocateslaw.com. Yes, Primetime Beaverton, 37-year-old man has been arrested. He is facing burglary and sex abuse charges. He is accused of at least twice sneaking into Beaverton homes and climbing into bed with sleeping females.
God,
dude.
How terrifying is that?
Yeah, that is terrifying.
Well, look, it'd be terrifying even as a dude. You just like wake up and there's some dude. Now, are you the big spoon or the little spoon in that? Because either way, that's all kinds of
Yeah,
bad.
what do you do?
Yeah.
See what he looks like?
Oh,
God. Well, you know.
Pull out my bear mace? I don't know.
What if it's Tony Vitello?
You sleep with... he is a handsome... You sleep with bear mace?
No, it's within... I can grab
He's got it. Yeah, everybody's got something they can grab, right? Most people, it's a gun.
Yeah. We have those two, but just try the non-lethal method first, right?
Pulled the Frank Reynolds. I didn't think one was good enough, so I pulled out two. And I started blasting.
Some people have a baseball bat. Some people a knife.
Yeah. Maybe an axe.
Chinese star.
Ooh, throwing star. Yeah. Nunchucks, if you will.
A Washington County grand jury indicted Christopher Ridman on 3 counts of first-degree burglary and 1 count each of first-degree sexual abuse and private indecency. They caught him walking through central Beaverton neighborhoods on the night of October 8th, checking door handles on several homes to see if they were unlocked. He entered at least 2 separate residences where he climbed into bed with sleeping female residents. Now, by the way, this
so he didn't know that
this blows the doors off of something you always say. It's like, well, locks are why do you even have locks? Well, this is why.
Yeah.
Right here, because he only went in if it was unlocked.
But he had no idea when he walked in. Like,
yeah, I know. That's what's weird.
He's just looking for females.
Yeah.
Anywhere.
Yeah.
Like he's climbing into bed and he finds me and he's like, damn it.
Now here's why I say Buck lives in Beaverton, right?
Yeah.
Guess what he was wearing?
Is it a Giants? Something with Giants?
A Giants sweatshirt.
Oh my goodness.
A San Francisco Giants sweatshirt.
Ryan Buckley is a known criminal.
Is Ryan Buckley's fake name Christopher Ridman?
Sounds
is Ryan Buckley his fake name?
Yeah. And now he suddenly leaves the show?
Yes.
Look, all of this is coming together.
This is, yeah.
Now, can I ask,
what?
Did he just climb into bed or did he climb into bed and then, like, do things?
Well, it doesn't say, but I would imagine that just climbing into bed is enough to get the charge.
Yes, it is. And that's why I'm saying, look, both are horrific.
It doesn't say.
But climbing into bed and giving you a little cuddle is different than climbing into bed and, like, you know.
What if he just wanted to cuddle?
Yeah, I don't know. That's why I'm just, you know. Is he a mentally disturbed person or is he just like the worst human being on the planet?
I don't know. I feel like there are some crimes that you don't really need to have a process for. Like, did this happen?
Oh.
Yes. Throw them away. All right.
Yeah, that's one of those that
Really? You guys are throwing this guy out?
Yeah, you can't.
Really?
At some point,
put him right into jail.
Yeah, you're.
Well, I'd put him into jail, but like, what do you mean, like forever?
You're behind on your human dues. This is why my cruise ship idea. Send him out to the middle of the water.
At some point, Rob, this is one of those behaviors that it's like, yeah, we need to take drastic steps immediately. I just think of the guy. Remember the TriMet barber, the guy that kept cutting women's hair,
dude,
and time after time after time, he was put in jail,
Schulte getting tough
let
on
out.
crime.
It's so frustrating when these kinds of criminals specifically. It's like, no, lock him up, throw away the key.
All right.
Immediately.
God, why are you yelling at me?
If we know anything about Schulte, we know he's passionate about aviation safety, the Mariners, and he's tough on crime.
Man, I feel like that's a little much. I mean, let's see if he does it again first.
What? What?
What?
God. See if he does it again.
No,
I
I'm
almost
saying,
just said the F word,
look,
man.
he's gonna get out of jail.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He's looking.
He didn't kill anyone.
No, but he's looking for unlocked doors,
He's
Rob.
a serial cuddler. Maybe,
I don't know.
Maybe he's getting one of those like
not with you on this.
those huggable, plushable dolls that he can like cuddle with. Maybe it's like
Oh, like a body pillow?
yeah,
kind of
like
thing?
a therapy sort of thing. Lighten up a little bit.
Do you need a snuggle buddy?
We're watching you, Buck.
Yeah, really.
Buck and Chance on the same day.
That's why you don't want him locked up and the key thrown away. You think it's Buck. You're trying to.
No, if it's
I'm
Buck,
trying to help him out.
That's unsuckable.
Whoa.
What?
That was you.
Oh, God.
You didn't know we had that, did
No,
you?
I did not. That's unsuckable. That's uncomfortable. I was a lie. What did he burglar? That is a question. What did he burglar?
Well, you can't just walk into someone's home.
You cannot.
And you can't crawl into bed with them.
No.
Two things you can't do.
No. That's how you get shot.
You also can't rig poker games.
Well, actually, you can. You just.
Well, no, you can't.
You'll get in trouble.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Same here. I mean, you can walk into somebody's home, but you're going to get in trouble.
That's true. Lucky you didn't get shot. Or in Schulte's case, bear maced.
Right.
Imagine naked Schulte with a headband coming at you with some bear mace. My God.
Just the image of me sleeping in nothing but my headband.
Someone said snuggling is a gateway crime. It's true. It's the marijuana.
According to Schulte, it is.
It's the marijuana of sex crimes.
Throw all snugglers into the
You're out.
ocean. You're done. Revoked.
Expired.
That is in the news, October 23, 2025, brought to you by the Advocates, injury attorneys at advocateslaw.com. Guess what we'll get back to coming up next? Chauncey Billups' arrest on 105.1 The Fan.
Texting enrolls you in a
A Sports Center update on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
This update is brought to you by Grand Central Bowl Arcade and Sports Bar, your Ducks game day headquarters in Portland. First on The Fan, some crazy news today, shocking, I'm sure, every Trailblazers fan this morning. Head coach Chauncey Billups arrested by the FBI for participation in illegal poker games with ties to the mob. According to indictments, Phillips is charged with money laundering as well as wire fraud conspiracy. He was taken into custody this morning around the same time Heat guard Terry Rozier was arrested as part of an overlapping investigation into illegal sports betting. So in response, the NBA placing both Phillips and Rozier on administrative leave until further notice, and the Blazers naming assistant Tiago Splitter as their interim coach. Former player and Cavaliers assistant Damon Jones was also among 34 total people arrested. He allegedly disclosed privileged injury information about LeBron James to facilitate illegal sports betting. And the NFL is happening tonight, Week 8 kicking off on Thursday Night Football in L.A. The Chargers hosting the Vikings. Los Angeles, a 4.5-point favorite. Kickoff at 5:15 on Amazon Prime. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Schultze from the George McCoy and Warren Allen Sports Desk. Heard missing work? Insurance companies acting like jerks? Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
The home of the Fan Happy Hour with Luke Anderson. Weekdays 2 to 3. The Fan Sports Network. 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
Okay, everyone, shut up and look at me.
Primetime with Isaac and Suk.
The less I know about other people's affairs, the happier I am. I'm not interested in caring about people.
Isaac Robb.
I once worked with a guy for 3 years and never learned his name. Best friend I ever had. We still never talk sometimes.
Jason Sakanik.
I also think it's pointless for a human to paint scenes of nature when they could just go outside and stand in it.
Primetime on the Fan Sports Network. 105.1 and 1080.
Please do not misinterpret the fact that I am talking right now as genuine interest. End of speech.
The Fan.
All right. Welcome back. Hope you're having a nice little Thursday. You've got your sports bros here. My name is Isaac. Hello. Big Sook right over there.
Right here.
Dude.
Look at him. Schultze is in.
Getting ready for this Thursday night football tilt.
As am I. Got it on my phone right over here.
By the way, how is J.J. McCarthy still not playing? Like, that guy
What was his injury?
He had like a sprained ankle. And it like he didn't even leave the game. Like, he is master of the injury that doesn't appear serious, and then he's out for 9 years.
Weren't sprained ankles kind of like iffy? They can be good,
Like
they can
the
be
high
bad.
ankle sprain?
Yeah, the high ankle sprain. But like it wasn't one of those things where he went down. Like, we didn't even really know he was hurt. And then they were like, yeah, he's dealing with something. And now he's been out multiple weeks.
Don't know, Jace. Can't answer that for you.
So we're getting Carson Wentz.
Yeah.
Yet again.
Boy, he was bad. Did you watch him last week?
Yes, I did.
Oh, my God.
Mm-hmm. There is a bevy of bad quarterback play going on right now in the NFL and bad offensive lines. But Darisaw is back for the Vikings, although their right tackle is out. But both of the tackles for the Chargers are back in this game, and they need that because the Chargers' O-line has they're hanging Justin Herbert out to dry.
I got duped on Social Meds over the weekend, or maybe it was Monday when I was kind of looking into some NFL stuff, and I clicked on a video that said the top 7 worst throws of this week in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
All 7 were Carson Wentz.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, the internet.
And they were bad.
It's a great place.
Man, 3 weeks ago, God, their coach was like, "Oh, he's a savant. He's no."
Well, the idea was that like Kevin O'Connell has worked with just about everybody, and it looks pretty good. And we found the kryptonite to him, and that's Carson Wentz.
Okay, so Chauncey Billups, the Blazers coach, was arrested this morning. He is involved with the mafia in rigged poker games.
Yeah.
So I mentioned that I had a list of some of the other people that were arrested, and I want to read you their names.
Oh, it's amazing.
So some are, some aren't, but I'm just going to go through all of them. There's like 31 people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ooh, I've been waiting for this.
This is Operation Royal Flush. I love that the FBI is doing bits, for God's sakes. And let me also state that the worst part about this whole thing today, as a massive Toronto Rangers fan,
yes.
I am crushed because I really thought the Toronto Rangers were going to be have a big year and be in contention for the Lord Larry O'Brien Cup. And I don't even know what to do anymore. Like, as a Toronto Rangers fan, I mean, it's
so I don't know who that guy was.
But that was the district
FBI
attorney for the Eastern Seaboard.
Is DA guy? Yeah,
Toronto
he got on there and he's like, "Yes, the teams involved are the Portland Trailblazers and the Toronto Rangers." He did say that.
Yes, he did.
And then he called Terry Rozier Terry Rozier.
Yeah, he butchered
Like,
Rozier's
clearly not a
name.
sports guy.
Megan Rapinoe.
But I don't hold that against him.
No,
you know.
no.
whatever.
No, my wife said he's doing
Megan
more important
Rapinoe.
stuff than watching sports. I said, you're right, babe. He is.
Yeah, it's kind of like the coach that plays golf. We don't want him playing golf.
Yeah.
We don't want him good at golf.
Exactly.
We
Just
want
go
him
prosecute some people.
So here are the 31 names of the people arrested. We have Ernest Iao, a reputed banano mobster.
Yeah, it's several La Cosa Nostra. It's the Italian mob. So and there's different families that are involved.
He's
in
one
this.
of those.
Yeah.
Nelson Spanish G Alvarez.
Yeah.
Spanish G.
Yeah, he got taken down. How about Louis Lou Apicella?
Hey, Apicella.
Louis Luapi.
Hey.
Then you've got Amar Flapper Poker Awade. I don't know his last name, but they call him Flapper Poker.
Yeah.
You've got Saul Betcher, professional poker player. Chauncey Billups, your Portland Trailblazers head
A little
coach.
disappointed that he didn't have a cool nickname.
No, because Damon Jones is on here, and he did. They called him D Jones.
Yeah. Chance got we can't even get the
Chance
Chance
money or something?
Yeah,
Yeah.
something.
Matthew the Wrestler Dedino.
Like it. You don't mess with the wrestlers.
God.
Yeah.
Was
Eric,
he the hitman? God.
Eric Spooky Ernest. Lee Fama, professional poker player. John Gallo. Marco Garzon. Tommy Juice Gelardo.
Tommy.
He's a reputed Lucchese mobster charged in 2013 for beating his porn star girlfriend.
Oh, yeah, can't do that.
You have some guy named Jamie Gillette. You have Sophia Pookie Way.
Love that one.
There's a photo, actually. New York Post had it.
Pookie?
Yeah, of Pookie. It shows there's a photo of Chance
Yeah.
at one of these tables,
Yeah.
and Pookie is there. She's standing over him. He's talking to, and he's got a bunch of chips in front of him, and he's talking to a guy who's holding his phone. It looks like some fish, a mark.
Yeah.
And then behind him is Saul Betcher, who's the professional poker player who was in on it. So there's if you want to see there is a photo circulating of Chance taking down these whales
with Pookie.
Black Tony Goodson.
Black Tony.
Now, I'm interested is Black Tony, was there a white Tony, and is Black Tony actually African American, or is Black Tony referring to something else?
I don't know, because you also have Robert Black Rob Stroud.
I know. I'm interested. We had a guy that we knew. We had two of them. One was Rob and one was Black Rob, because, well, one, how do you tell them a different? Well, Black Rob was black. So I'm interested to know if Black Tony was indeed black.
You have...
my favorite is Albanian Bruce.
Yeah, you have Anthony Ruggiero Jr., Michael Renzulli, Nicholas Minucci, Curtis Meeks, John South Mazzola, Joseph Lanny, Zen Screwly Hugh.
That's pretty good.
Horatio Hugh, Osmond Albanian Bruce Hoti.
That's what how do we get Osmond? When I heard Albanian Bruce, I assumed the guy's name was Bruce, but it's not. His name is Osmond Hoti. How did he get Albanian Bruce?
We also have Shane Sugar Henney and Kenny Hahn.
Yeah.
There had to be a sugar in there.
And Seth Trustman. Boring old Seth Trustman.
He's the lawyer.
Yeah, totally. So those are the people arrested.
Yeah.
I mean, geez, man.
In Operation Royal Flush. Operation Nothing But Nets.
The mobsters need to work on their names, though.
Yeah.
I think they were better back in the
Except
day.
for Albanian Bruce. He's just fine. Johnny 2 times. Got to get the papers.
All right, when we come back, we're going to reset you on all this, okay? So there's a lot of stuff in this. And Chauncey Billups will never coach the Blazers again.
No, he will never be involved in the NBA again.
Rest assured. And once you hear our next segment, you're going to understand why. So we will get to everything, reset everything. If you don't know what happened with him, we've got it all. It's very complicated. There's a lot going on here, but we've got it all for you next on The Fan.
Ducks Game Day hits on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
You know, just last night, after the Blazers lost, Chauncey said this.
I do the best I can and let the chips fall where they may.
Yeah.
Very bad choice of words.
Yeah.
Let the chips fall where they may.
Well, they fell today, and that
You're a loser.
Someone, again, internet, but a lot of the memes flying around now of Lillard waving goodbye, and then it's they've done Chance like walking, like walking away in cuffs.
It's actually pretty neat.
He will never coach the Blazers again. He's been suspended. He will never be a part of the NBA again. He is gone. Now, what happens as far as does he plead? Does he go to trial? Does he spend time in prison? Who knows? But he is done in the NBA.
So what happened was he was arrested by the FBI at his house this morning at 6 a.m. According to Big Souk sources, he did not know it was coming.
No, he did not.
And they were ready to ram down his door.
Yeah, they brought out the whole.
But he answered.
Yeah, he answered.
And they cuffed his ass.
I was told that he was under surveillance for about the last 3 to 4 days, 24/7. To make sure that and all these people were, all 31, because they were afraid that if one of them found out that they were going...
Even Pookie?
Yeah, even Pookie. Well, the idea was that if one of them found out, and then I don't think they were necessarily worried that Chance was going to flee, but word spreading that these arrests were coming. And they had been working on this for a long, long time.
So the feds then held a very wild press conference with
did.
a lot of crazy details and a lot of grandstanding.
Yes.
I mean, watching the presser,
it's unbelievable.
It was pretty clear there was quite a bit of, sort of bravado from the FBI towards the crime families. I mean, they were certainly wanting to appear tough and get the message across that they are going after organized crime. So there was clearly an agenda there.
Yeah, hey, Pookie, we're coming for you, and Albanian Bruce.
Yeah, so names like Chauncey Billups and Terry Rozier and Damon Jones helped get them headlines for this big display that they wanted to put on at the press conference. They had Kash Patel there and everything. So it was a big deal.
And Chance, much like in the indictment, Chance was used as the big fish to lure people in.
Right.
Chauncey was used to get people's attention for this case.
Sure. And you could that was very obvious by watching the press conference today. It was a whole thing. But here are the details. Apparently the mafia was orchestrating a series of illegal poker games. They were all rigged. What they used to rig the games is pretty wild. They used off-the-shelf shuffling machines that were altered to read cards in the deck. So they knew the sequence of the cards. That was then relayed to someone off-site. They called him an off-site operator. And that person would then send the info back to a quarterback at the table who had a phone, who would then signal to the others how to play their cards. So obviously the info was used to win games. They used poker chip tray analyzers that secretly read cards using a hidden camera. They used special contact lenses and eyeglasses to read marked cards. And they also used an x-ray table that could read cards that were face down on the table. So I ask you this question before I get to other details here. If you sat down at a game with all of those things in play, do you not know it?
Well, it sounds like, so we played it earlier. There's about a 2-minute clip from a podcast 2 years ago from a professional gambler who said that these poker games were going on 4 to 5 years ago, leading all the way up to now. By the way, the person that I talked to today that was with direct knowledge of this, I did ask, is this something that happened years ago, or is this something, and he shook his head and he goes, basically, this is a continued thing. This is not something that happened a few times years ago and then stopped.
There was another game planned.
Yes, this is a regular occurrence.
They got to find a new guy from the NBA to help them lure in the fish.
Got to find a new guy. So the professional poker player went on a podcast 2 years ago and said that he was invited to a game centered around Chauncey Billups. And he goes, no, I know for a fact that this game is rigged. And he was saying that there were professional poker players there. And he said when they sat down at the table, it was clear. You want to play the...
Yeah, I got it here.
Yeah, play the clip. Because this
must have been like 5 years ago, 2019-ish, I think.
Who is this guy talking?
4 years ago.
He's a professional gambler.
Where there was this game. It started in LA and then it came to Vegas for a few days. And it was all built around Chauncey Billups. And
Jesus.
I had heard about the game, and the person who told me about it was like, look, I know the game runners. I'm telling you 100% this game is on the up and up. And I was like, well, I know a lot of the people that are involved, and I'm telling you 100% that it is not on the up and up.
Yeah.
And we kind of went back and forth, and I agreed that like I just wasn't going to go play it, but I had some friends who went and played it both in LA and in Vegas, and it obviously like was for sure confirmed to be cheated. Like people who clearly didn't even understand the rules of No Limit Hold'em are just like jamming hundreds of big blinds in with like a gutty. And then just drilling it. Yeah. Only the pros are losing. Like,
how is it figured out? Like, it just
I can't remember if this was the game where
over the loudspeaker.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
That was Peart.
Oh, okay. Well, it's still. I mean, it's not like Chauncey and Pierce don't know each other. I feel like it's probably the same crowd overlapping there, but maybe not.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't get the whole thing about over the loudspeaker with Paul Pierce.
Well,
what was that about?
I think there was a tournament where you have like a tournament director and they call things out like as they're happening. So I'm assuming that there was another instance of cheating that they were referring to, and that wasn't this one.
So basically, he was saying that anyone that knew, like the poker players that were professional poker players, were like, dude, get the F out. It's easy to know.
But he said they still went in and played it.
Well, but that's my point is they immediately knew what was up and probably left. But the suckers that aren't aware, they're the ones that probably a professional poker player did not get taken. Someone lost $1.7 million in one of these
and
games.
that wasn't a pro.
That is not a pro.
Right. Well, some of the pros, we went through the list of names.
Yeah.
There were a couple of pro poker players that were on the Chauncey Mafia side.
Yes. And so
they were in on the game.
And so that goes back to it. So it is my understanding, basically, reading through this and listening to this, but I still can't believe that this was out there in public knowledge years ago.
And yeah, this is the Our Friends podcast with Matt Berkey. That is who. So he's a professional poker player. That's who was.
And the idea that like the Blazers in their vetting process aren't aware of this is just staggering to me. But it sounds like if you knew if you are a poker player, you were not fooled by this, but you don't try to fool professional poker players. You fool idiots that have a lot of money and that just want to hang out with celebrities and famous people and play cards. And those are the suckers that you end up bilking the money out. In fact, when you bring a professional poker player in, it probably adds credibility to the game. And you're like, oh my God, the professional poker player is losing too.
Right. If Chance is there and the professional poker player's there, you're thinking, oh, it's got to be on the up and up.
Yeah. Meanwhile, this guy walks in and is like, dude, these idiots don't even know the rules. And yet they're cleaning everybody out.
We went through that list of ways that they cheated. Like, that stuff has got to be at some level obvious.
No.
But apparently not.
No, so let me kind of chime in here on that to answer your question about how did they notice. You talk about like guys jamming with no equity. What that means, I think Suk said it earlier in the show, you got one or two outs. You got one or two cards that'll make your boat, that'll make your straight.
And guys are putting $100,000.
Yeah, and that, Rob, unfortunately, that when you see that or you feel that happen 2, 3, 4 times at a table, that's kind of when you start to maybe think that there's cheating going on. No, there's literally with these card machines, with the X-ray table, you can go look at pictures of this stuff. It looks like any generic poker item that you would see walking into any poker room. The sunglasses thing, for me, the video that I showed you guys, it's circulating on X.
It's crazy.
That's the big one because I always wear shades when I play poker, right? Your eyes are your biggest giveaway. A lot of players wear shades, but if they're wearing contacts or shades with a marked deck that nobody else can see, it's just so
crazy.
easy.
They have
I guess you couldn't.
They have these photos where dudes are just wearing sunglasses or contacts, and when you look at the cards, you can see through the card. You can see in a big letter.
Nuts.
And they had a card counter that would shuffle the cards, and as it shuffled, it would read the deck. And so someone sitting in the back knew the exact order of every card that was in the deck, and then they could relay that information.
I just went through all that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So the Mafia was orchestrating these games.
Yeah.
And they were behind it. And they were rigged. They used all kinds of wireless cheating technology. They were in Vegas. They were in Miami. They were in Manhattan. They were in the Hamptons. Anywhere rich people were. 11 states in all. They said Billups was the face card. He was used to lure in what they called fish. So he was in on it, and the fish would be these big money guys who want to play in these games with him. So Billups was kind of the key guy. It's like, hey, oh, cool, I want to play in a poker game with Chauncey Billups. So they stole tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands of dollars per game from these fish. One person lost $1.8 million. They said that the Mafia got involved. Mafia was running non-rigged games for the longest time, but then when they heard of these, they got involved in these rigged games. And then the money was laundered through shell companies and crypto transfers. There was even acts of violence and extortions of victims who owed them money. Like, it is real-time
bad stuff.
mafia stuff.
Yeah. Tens of millions of dollars and threats, and I mean, this is just all kinds of bad.
So Chauncey specifically faces 2 charges: money laundering conspiracy and wire fraud conspiracy. Court documents obtained by TMZ show that he was wired $50,000 after they shook down a whale in an illegal game back in 2020. They said that Billups' role as the face card was crucial, as he would lure wealthy players into the games.
Much like that guy, the professional gambler on the podcast said, the game was centered around
him,
Chauncey Billups.
Yeah. It's hard to wrap your head around this, but it just in the event that you don't believe that Billups knew what was going on and he was just being paid to be the face, there are messages from Damon Jones' phone, and Damon Jones was in the same boat as Chance in this situation, saying, remember, if you have to think hard about a call, just fold. And watch Amar, he's the Steph. Also watch Marco, he's the Bron. And those were 2 guys that were named in the 31 names that we mentioned.
It's all coordinated.
So it's all coordinated. He's in on it. And they say that, prosecutors say that sometimes the players were told, like Chauncey and Damon and those guys, were told to lose, and sometimes they were told to win. They were just basically following the orders of the people who knew what the cards were.
Yeah. And we don't know how he got involved. We don't know why he got involved. We'll find out as that goes on. And then the second charge in this is the sports gambling aspect of it. And while his name isn't directly named in that, if you read through the affidavit, he clearly is co-conspirator number 8, a former NBA player and now current NBA coach that lives in Portland. And he was giving gamblers tips on fixing games.
So more charges coming?
I don't know.
I don't know about charges, but that one right there, he's out of the NBA. Like the NBA, let's just say he gets off scot-free on everything we just talked about.
Yeah.
The NBA will ban him for life for this. Like, he, as the coach of the Blazers, was tipping information that he was going to rest players so that they could win bets on Blazers games. Dude, you're done.
And by the way, those bets were bet. They were cashed to the tune of $100,000+. You're cooked.
So
he will never.
So they don't
coach.
have to prove that.
No.
The NBA will investigate that, and dude, he's out.
Yeah,
so
because
anyway,
the indictment was just charging him in the poker one. He's named in the second indictment, basically, but as of right now, we haven't seen any of the charges coming his way for that.
So we'll tell you more about that part of it next. And I'd like to ask the key question, and that is, why on earth did Chauncey Billups do this?
Yeah.
What is he doing? Was he extorted? Did he owe them money?
Is he just a bad
Is
guy?
he just a bad dude? Like, what is this about? Text 503-864-6326. We'll get to some of your texts coming up as well. But first, here's Schultze with SportsCenter.
Now, from the George McCoy and Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
First on The Fan, a historic day in Portland sports for all the wrong reasons. Trailblazers head coach Chauncey Billups arrested by the FBI for participation in illegal poker games with ties to the mafia. According to indictments, Billups being charged with money laundering and wire fraud conspiracy. He was taken into custody this morning around the same time Heat guard Terry Rozier was arrested in Orlando as part of an overlapping investigation into sports betting. The league placing both Billups and Rozier on administrative leave because of that until further notice. And in response, the Blazers naming assistant Tiago Splitter as their interim coach. Former player and Cavaliers assistant coach Damon Jones also was among 34 total people arrested today. He allegedly disclosed privileged injury info about LeBron James to facilitate illegal sports betting. And on to the NFL Week 8 in action right now. You got Thursday Night Football happening on Amazon Prime. Just under 10 minutes to go in the first quarter. Still scoreless right now between the Chargers and Vikings. Both Wentz and Justin Herbert throwing for just over 20 yards so far. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Schultze from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt, missing work? Insurance companies acting like jerks? Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
Your home for the Oregon Ducks, the Fan Sports Network. This is Primetime with Isaac and Suk on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
It's actually pretty neat.
Bro.
Okay, here's the next part of the Chance business. So this is from the Terry Rozier case. Two separate cases. This is the one where they were manipulating prop bet outcomes. So Chauncey is co-conspirator number 8 in that indictment. And they described co-conspirator number 8 as a former NBA player living in Oregon and coaching in the NBA.
I wonder who that could be.
So that person told the defendant in this one was Eric Ernest. He was the gambler guy. And co-conspirator 8 told Eric Ernest that the Blazers were going to bench their starters and tank the game against the Bulls on March 24th of 2023. The Blazers had no chance at the playoffs. There were just 10 games left in the season. At that point, and I remember this, they were not tanking.
No.
Damian Lillard was on the team, and remember, he was saying he didn't want, like, there was this whole debate of should they should, I mean, I think we were saying, tank, and they weren't.
Yeah.
Well, for this game, Billups told Eric Ernest that they were going to set everybody down. Now, this was not public information. That's the key. So Ernest then shared that information with bettors, and these guys were previously indicted in the Jonte Porter scandal. Before the info became public, bets totaling $100,000 were placed on the Bulls for that game. Lo and behold, those cashed. The Blazers benched all their starters and lost by 28 points. There are receipts of wire transfers to Ernest from the gamblers who won money based on this information that they clearly got from Chauncey Billups. Yeah. This, by the way, was the very next night after Rozier tipped off the same bettors that he would leave his game early and for them to bet his under. So Chauncey is cooked. He will never coach in the NBA again.
No.
My question is, why did he do this? What is he? Is he just that bad of a dude? Is he wrapped up in something bigger that he can't get out of? Like, what the hell is... And, you know, a texter brought this up. Does this call into question his playing career? This has been going on for years.
Yeah. Yeah. That, honestly, hopefully as this thing gets shook out, maybe we'll get some more clarity on this, you know, if it goes to trial or if he pleads out. But, I mean, obviously the easiest one to think about is you owed money, right? That's the old mafia way, is you end up owing money and you can't pay it, and hey, we've got a way out for you. The other one is, like you said, you're just a bad guy. And the other one is you like the excitement, right? Why did Michael Vick, who was worth hundreds of millions of dollars, why was Michael Vick fighting dogs? Why was Winona Ryder shoplifting? Why do rich kids steal cars? You know, it's the idea of, you know, why do we like gangster movies? Why do you like Goodfellas? Why do you like Sons of Anarchy? That lifestyle is very appealing and can be very intoxicating. It's that idea when you're around people and you feel like you're doing something bad. It's like when you get off the plane in Vegas, you have that instant urge of like, let's do some stuff. And, you know, you're bored in life and, you know, you're kind of a big wig and everyone's loving you and you're the king cheese and you're involved in all this and it seems easy and you're just making money. And I see where that can get addictive.
Yeah, you also got a lot to lose.
He has lost everything.
I mean,
including possibly his freedom.
Yeah, and he was already rich. Like,
yeah, it just makes no sense.
It is so, he just must be just a bad dude. And this goes back to the Blazers. Remember all the rape stuff when they hired him?
And they got all pissy when anyone brought it up.
Old Shea was sitting there yelling at us, telling us it's not breaking news.
It's not breaking news, dude.
Guys, move on.
Guys, move on.
Remember that dude?
Yeah, and that was
what he thinks.
And that was the vetting process. And people asked, like, how did you vet? And that was the proprietary. Don't worry about it. We looked into it. And the sad part is, apparently, if they looked a little bit, some of this fixed poker stuff was out there. That guy, the professional poker player, said these games have been going on for 4 to 5 years, and he was talking about it openly years ago.
You're a loser.
That's crazy. So the Blazers are either ignorant or they know all this and didn't care.
Either way.
Both are bad. It's just another embarrassment for the Blazers.
Yes.
And my God, can they just turn the page on everything with this franchise?
Well, I know.
Get a clean slate.
And Dundon was here yesterday, and he doesn't take the team over until sometime in the spring. And so, believe it or not, this is still Jody Allen's problem, which is hilarious. I guarantee she's looking at this and being like, not my problem right now. I'm not touching this thing. But if you're Tom Dundon, I mean, Chauncey Billups and Cronin were competing for their lives this year anyways. Billups is gone. And I go back to what you just said. If you're Tom Dundon, how do you not look at this and say that under Joe Cronin and Neil O'Shea, right? They were both involved in this. And Joe Cronin is the one that gave him the extension. How do you not look at that and say either you didn't know and you're a moron and ignorant, you're fired, or you did know and you shoved it aside and you hired him anyways, you're fired? I just don't know from a public trust standpoint how on earth you can come in as a new owner and keep any part of this. There has to be, and it's a prime opportunity to just erase the slate and start new with the fan base.
Seems
start
a lot
new with the
easier
city.
now.
Yes.
Bright side here is you lost the game last night. You lost your coach all in one night. You're well on your way to another good lottery pick. All in one night.
Well,
they start out the game great, and you're going, oh, man, look at this team.
Yeah.
And then the next morning you wake up, it's like, oh, there's another lottery.
Yeah. Well, and the NBA, by the way, has a serious problem. Remember, the NBA cleared Terry Rozier of these sort of things. So, you know, go back to a trust thing. Adam Silver's got an issue here. And by the way, this is a league-wide thing. Like
He
when
may
they were
lose his job.
Yeah.
He may lose.
It's
I'm
possible.
serious. Adams, at this point, these are piling up. Adam Silver may lose his job.
Well, just the way this went down really quickly, not yesterday, not the day before the Blazers played their first regular season game, the morning after. Seems to be very specific timing by the law enforcement officials.
Make no mistake about it. This was a purpose pitch.
Yeah.
But like you had another gambling scandal. You said, nope, we investigated Terry. Everything's fine. We're good. And then the FBI is like, oh, yeah, by the way, it's not good. We're arresting him. You look like an absolute clown. Meanwhile, you know, I'm watching ESPN this morning, like First Take. And as they're discussing this, what is at the bottom of the screen? ESPN bet. And they, by the way, it's all on the, Twitter and internet now. They just casually, during the middle of the segment, just kind of shoved it away and just erased it. But every one of these leagues is in bed now with gambling. And this is the cost of it. And at some point there is going to be a reckoning here, but how on earth can you trust anyone in the Blazer organization at this point when they told you that they vetted him and clearly they did not? And how can you trust the NBA now when you've had everything from the Tim Donaghy thing and now this, when you just got done saying, nope, Terry, you're fine. We cleared you. And now this. Like you have a major credibility problem on your hands. And I'm not saying this is the worst scandal that the NBA has ever faced. Again, the Tim Donaghy one was worse. That is literally fixing games. This is just kind of over-unders and trying to defraud casinos. But you have a massive problem on your hands that every one of these sports leagues has played in the blood money now. And you now have these things coming to roost seemingly on a fairly regular basis. And now you've got one involving a Hall of Fame player and a current sitting NBA coach, and it ain't good.
Okay, well, we'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll put a bow on this, and we'll get to a real hour of Sports Talk Radio, The Club. All right?
Talk about Pookie.
Pookie's kind of cute.
Is she?
Yeah.
What's up, Pookie? Hey, by the way, that's the other one that could be involved in this. Nothing takes down men quite like the Hots. Yes. The Hots have been responsible for the fall of more powerful men than anything in the history of mankind.
All right, we'll wrap it up next here on The Fan.
It's time for a Ducks Report, the inside story on Ducks athletics. Brought to you by Mods PDX. The future of building is here.
Now with a week to prepare, an idea of who they're going to be able to operate with, I think it's a different team than necessarily, showed up the last 2 weeks. And what they have done well is played well on special teams. They've done a good job on defense of knowing what they want to be able to give up and what they want to take away. They've always been really good at taking away the run game.
Yeah, that's Dan Lanning on our show earlier today, polishing the turd that is Wisconsin's offense.
Yeah, it's not,
It's terrible. What do you mean first of all, they have Jeff Grimes as their offensive coordinator, and second, they haven't scored a point in 3 weeks.
Yeah. Well.
Do they score on Saturday?
No, not in those weather conditions. Maybe a field goal at the end.
Do they cross the 50-yard line
second half
on Saturday?
Second half at some point.
Mods PDX, the future of building is here.
Dirt and spray. Dirt and spray.
I'm Dirt.
on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
For those asking about our FM signal, I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is confirmed. It is down, but we're on everywhere else.
Above our pay grade. Like, we have nothing to do with it. Look, we're at the mercy of Odyssey, okay?
An Odyssey station.
And that's never a place you want to be.
Someone has been sent out to the tower, but you can still find us online or on 1080.
Literally, we have to send a guy out to a tower, and he has to climb 40 stories and shake some wires in order to get it back up and running.
We're actually back on now.
I think we turned it off and we turned it back on.
Oh. Yeah,
So-
someone went out there, flipped the switch.
Flip the switch, and now we're fine.
Yeah, just unplug it.
Yeah, we're good.
Plug it back in. Plug it back in.
Hey, you have to unplug it and leave it unplugged for like 30 seconds,
Why?
then plug it back.
Yeah, don't plug it in too fast.
Let's go back to the AM.
We're still there.
Oh.
Yeah, we were on the whole time on the
We never really left.
See? The AM, way more reliable. That's where it's at. Maybe we'll start a trend. Everybody's going to jump to AM now.
Want that AM
You don't think so?
What was the Everclear, right? I heard it on the AM radio. That was a kind of a hit for old art.
Well, I guess to wrap up the Chance business today, and we'll, obviously there'll be a lot more coming out.
As this thing goes on. His next court date, by the way, November 24th.
So he just sits in his house until November 24th.
And that's in New York, right?
Yes.
Yeah, he's got to go to New York, but
And he can only go to Colorado. He can go home to Colorado, home to Oregon, or go to New York for the trial stuff. Other than that,
I wonder if he puts out anything in the media or like through an attorney or something.
He's gonna shut the F up.
Nope.
Eventually, someone awkwardly is going to have to speak for the Blazers. They canceled all media availability, but Cronin is just
cowering in a corner.
He's like, mother bleep. I was already fighting for my job.
guy-
And this ain't helping.
Dude, well, we've said enough about them. This is part and parcel for that. That franchise is a joke.
It's not going great.
It's an embarrassment. And here's another embarrassing chapter in the book. It's ridiculous. It really is absurd at this point.
Like, if it's going to happen to someone, you're just like, really? Us again?
Is it? Yes, you, because you have no culture. You have no, this is what never mind. Just forget. Never mind. I don't even want to get into it.
But what's weird is that
we've got too many examples. It's pretty obvious.
It's just that finally this year, and I know they lost last night, there was a lot. This is a young, fun, exciting team. They played a breakneck pace. It's easy to root for. There was actually some real reason to kind of be excited. And even though they lost, I think a lot of people took that as a real positive sign and left that game pretty optimistic. And then, like, a couple hours later, you're like, are you freaking...
They rip your heart out again.
Are you freaking kidding me?
At this point, the joke's on you.
We got Thiago Splitter. We're fine.
So, I guess, is it fair to say this? It probably isn't, but I'm going to say it anyway.
I like where... Is it fair? No. Am I going to say it anyways? Yes.
Well, we were talking during the break, and I think I just feel like we're overthinking this. Sometimes it's just as simple as Chauncey Billups is a bad guy.
Yeah.
And I would add, it just kind of always has felt that way about him. Is that unfair? Like he's always felt a little shady.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little sleazy.
Don't you think?
Yes, from press conference number one.
He's always been, he just has this kind of untrustworthy element to him.
By the way, my wife said that from the first moment she saw him. My wife's usually a good people reader, so I always thought that was funny. Now I'm like...
I also, I mean, come on, we're all around town, and this is a small town when it gets down to it, and you hear things, and I just have never really run into anybody that's like, Chauncey, great guy.
Yeah.
It's not out there.
Yeah.
So I just think this goes back to the Blazers and how they could possibly let this guy, knowing all of this stuff has been out there, rape allegations were out there, and they hired him anyway. And then they just gave him an extension. Like, it's unbelievable.
It is. I think back to that O'Shea press conference when he was so defiant and pissy over people bringing up Chauncey's past and did you vet him? And they just defiantly went on the quit asking us. We looked into this and how dare you question our process? And here we are a few years later after you extended him, and you just, I know it's proprietary, Sean, but I would love to actually know what they found in the vetting process how much they tried, what did they find, how much did they ignore, and just not give a rip. I'm fascinated.
Well,
by
I'm
that.
guessing they found. Well, okay, I guess that's a good question. Like, did they actually vet him, or did they not care to vet him? They just told us that they were going to vet him because that's the guy they wanted.
Yeah,
he was handpicked.
Yes,
they wanted him, so it was. They were just going to corkscrew him in there no matter what.
Yeah,
I think back to the Wally Backman situation with the Diamondbacks in the 5 or 6 when they hired him. But what, a New York Times article came out like 2 days later saying, oh, he's got a bunch of debt and he's got a Dewey and he's just kind of a bad dude. And the Diamondbacks admitted after firing him, they did not vet him. Yeah. I'm shocked that that happened 20 years ago and we're still here.
They did vet him though. But see, okay, that's an interesting one because everybody knew Wally Backman.
Yeah.
And everybody
rough
knew
around the
Wally
edges.
Backman was horrible. Yeah. But what they liked about Wally Backman was they thought he would be a good manager. Yeah. That's it. And so they just ignore everything else. And that's what the Blazers did here. It's you deserve better than that. At any rate, the new owner is coming in and hopefully house will be cleaned. Now, this is a great question, and I can't believe we haven't asked it yet. They took his passport.
Yeah.
What if he doesn't have a real ID? How does he get to Colorado and New York?
Well, aren't you supposed to have that by now?
Yeah, I wonder.
Well, I don't have one. If they took my passport, I'd be screwed.
I wonder if he could. Well, because you can't go. Can you drive? And then if you get stopped, be like, "I'm on my way to Colorado." I don't know.
Is he going to have to drive?
I don't think he can because that would go through other states. I'm guessing you have.
So
to
can
fly.
he pull up to security and be like, "Look, they took my passport.
Well,
I'm going out for a federal court." Case.
I think getting a real
I think maybe you should let me through.
I think getting a real ID is about $112. I think Chance can swing it.
Hey, by the way, when I traveled, not this last time, but a time before, I forgot my passport.
Did you really?
Yeah, and they let me through. I don't have a real ID. She said,
"Oh, next time."
She said, "Look, they're being pretty lenient on it right now, but and I probably shouldn't say this over the radio, so don't do this." But eventually they're going to shut her down. You have to have the real ID. But right now they're being
because I bet you a lot of people have no idea. They're like, "What?" And then that makes sense. And by the way, kudos to them for having some
leeway.
Yeah, some leeway, like spirit of the law, letter of the law, sort of thing. You imagine, again, you don't pay attention to the news. You're just one of those people, and you show up. You're ready to go. See Nana, and your flight leaves in an hour, and they're like, "Hey, by the way, F you can't get on." That sucks. So I'm glad that they are. I'm glad that they're being.
Hundo P.
I'm glad they're being cool about that.
Well, I'm glad Chauncey's out. Now that I think about it.
Yeah.
You're a loser.
Well, I mean, you just
good riddance.
Yeah, at some point, and I know, like you're innocent until proven, guilty, all that stuff. Sure, and he'll get his day in court. But
yeah, I can't wait to see what he's going to say.
Yeah, but it just might be one of those where. You said, why did he do it? Maybe ultimately he's just
I hate this team.
Maybe he's just a bad guy.
All right, Club next on the Fan.
And guys, if you're losing your hair and you need a simple solution,
A Sports Center update on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
This update is brought to you by Mountaintop Metal Roofing. No maintenance, energy efficient, fire resistant, and a lifetime warranty. Do it once, do it right. Visit mountaintopmetalroofing.com. First on the Fan, shocking news today here in Portland as Trailblazers head coach Chauncey Billups arrested by the FBI for his participation in illegal poker games with ties to the mob. According to indictments, Billups is charged with money laundering and wire fraud conspiracy. He was taken into custody this morning, right around the same time that Heat guard Terry Rozier was arrested as part of an overlapping investigation into illegal sports betting. The NBA placing both Billups and Rozier on administrative leave. In response, the team has named assistant Tiago Splitter as their interim head coach. Former player and Cavaliers assistant coach Damon Jones was also among the 34 total people arrested. He allegedly disclosed injury info about LeBron James to facilitate more illegal sports betting. And Week 8 of the NFL getting going tonight. Thursday Night Football in action as we speak. The Chargers did lead it 7-0, but it looks like they just added another touchdown on the ground. 13 minutes to go in the second quarter. The Chargers blanking the Vikings 14-0. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Schulte from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work, insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
Recruiting with Andrew Nemec, Thursday evenings at 7 after Isaac and Suk on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM. Warning. The following program may not be suitable for children.
Hold on to your butts.
As the sun sets over Slab Town, in the shadows of the Fremont Bridge, a club comes to life where you can let your freak flag fly.
There's a new fiesta in the making as we speak. Full kegs. Everybody's gonna be there. You ought to go.
The only thing that's off limits are the words you can't say thanks to the FCC.
They don't know what the they're doing. Do you understand that?
We've given away too much to arrive at these political compromises. Yeah.
Google me, bitch.
Oh no, oh no.
Well, my.
I was alive.
It's insane.
What did he burgle?
Touchdown
6, brother. That's unsuckable.
I do the best I can and let the chips fall where they may. You'll lose. It's actually pretty neat.
Bro.
I think it's really sexy.
It's not breaking news. We apologize.
It's time for the club, baby. On 105.1 and 1080, The Fan. Hoo-wee.
A lot of laughing going on around here. Yeah. Keep laughing, dude. Keep laughing, dude.
See what happens. I love that. Keep it up. See what happens.
Yeah, just watching the news here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why.
The news? You're not watching this big Chargers-Vikings game?
No, I have it on my phone. For some reason, I can never get Amazon Prime on our TVs in here.
Yeah.
So
well, I got the Red
phone.
Wings game on, and we're down 5-0 going into the third, so it's going great.
So the Feds show up today, and you got Cash Patel up there, his little short man syndrome, and you got all these dudes.
In his big boy jacket.
I thought the government was shut down.
Oh, yeah.
What are they doing up there?
You think when they were, like, knocking on Johnson's door, he was like, you can't do this.
Yeah. Johnson's like, wait a minute, I thought you guys were shut down.
What the hell? Yeah. Whoops. Sorry about that. Can you imagine how absolutely terrifying that is, though?
What?
Well, like, I'm sure that game got over fairly late. You get home. I'm guessing Chance went to bed somewhere 12:30, 1, something like that. 5:30, it was before 6, 5:30 in the morning, like, your wife or whatever is like, honey, someone's at the door. And if someone came to my door at 5 or 5:30 in the morning, my thought would be, what the hell? And then you get the Mr. Billups come out now or we're tearing down your gate. I'm guessing that is, I mean, what goes through your mind when, because at that point,
well,
like why they're at your door.
I think the better question is which is worse? When you get that knock and you know exactly what it means.
Yeah, like a loud, FBI at the door.
Or when you get that knock and you don't know what it means.
Oh,
which is worse?
I think it's worse if you don't. I guess
if you don't
know. Like,
yeah. Because if you do know, it's like probably just that pit in your stomach.
You're
like,
oh crap,
boy.
it's come home.
2 or 3 seconds into it, you're like, oh, this is what this is.
But if you don't know,
Yeah.
your mind starts erasing.
Yeah. Well, that's like the case of like mistaken identity or whatever. Yeah, if you've ever, when I was a younger man, I was out on the streets of Seattle.
You're an idiot, Sue.
And there was
War-torn Seattle.
War-torn Seattle. And someone had committed a violent crime that apparently fit my description.
Told you.
And
war-torn.
Yeah, we were walking amongst a big group of people, and we heard the, like, stop, freeze. I didn't think they were referring to me, but there was kind of a kerfuffle behind. So I was like, I don't know what's happened here, but I went to go across the street. I was like, I don't need to be here. I saw a bunch of cops. Turns out that was me attempting to flee. And that's when a gun got drawn, and I about pooped my pants. I was not okay with that. I was absolutely terrified. And that was like, and I got, on the ground, cuffs, and now ID and everything, not me, and I was released 10 minutes later with an apology. But I'll tell you what, for about that 3 to 4 minutes, I had no idea what had gone on, but I've never been more scared in my entire life.
Did you tell him you played football at BYU?
No, I don't think that one came out. Huh. I think there was a lot of like, I didn't do anything. I will say that in my youth, that was not a real like tough guy moment for me. That was, I don't know what's going on.
Folded like a piece of paper.
I will say, like, I started, because, you're up in Seattle, and, we had been to some, we've been to some adult establishments, and, like, your mind starts racing, like, what did I do? I'm like, it didn't get that bad.
Yeah, the worst is, like, you're like, oh, you're running through a couple things, you're like, oh, dang it. They figured it out.
Yeah.
They didn't. Perfect.
No, I just was like running through, like, there's no reason whatsoever, and luckily the guy was actually pretty cool and explained to me, like, what was there, and that once that was, I was like, okay, well, it's not me, and then I was perfectly fine. I was like, all right, mistaken identity, whatever. He's like, you fit the description, and I'm like, what, big white guy? And like, I don't know.
Well, imagine being Hispanic.
Yeah.
Right now.
Well, you're hearing all kinds of stories like that where guys are getting yanked out of their homes or whatever, and they're like, I have my papers, and they're like, well, you're going in the van anyways, and we'll sort it out later. There's some scary stuff out there, man. Like, but yeah, I'm guessing that feeling that Chance had today, early in the morning, boy, that is something else. But
it's his own damn fault.
Exactly. You can't feel bad for him.
Idiot.
Like, oh no, it's the consequences of my own actions.
Well, and then what did his wife know? What did she,
how
surprised
another question, because doesn't he have kids too?
I think he has kids, right?
Over there at the
and
house?
I don't know if they're staying here in Portland or back in Denver. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a tough one to explain, right? And then he's got to explain away Pookie and...
Well, it's funny because you're like, oh, honey, someone's at the door. No, it was loud knocks like, FBI, open the door now. It is very jarring when that kind of thing happens.
Oh, yeah, it looks like he's got a lovely little family.
How would you know, Schultze?
Yeah, you've been...
I think I've seen enough episodes of Law & Order there, sir. You can go look at my criminal record. It's clean as a whistle.
Mine's not.
I mean, I've gotten speeding tickets. Does that count?
Come on!
Mine's not. I'd like to say arrested on several occasions, never charged. Thank you very much. Except for that jaywalking situation.
Now we have the conspiracy theory that Trump is out to get war-torn Portland, and so he arrested the Blazers coach.
Oh, that's great.
Because of that.
So last night we went to the Timbers game, and then we went on a little bit of a pub crawl.
In war-torn Portland?
In war-torn Portland.
Did you carry your bear mace and your revolver?
Well, we went across and we went to the Marathon, which is a delightful little place. Free popcorn. I like that. You're not a Marathon guy?
Not really.
Oh.
Never have been. What?
I've been there once, and
it's fine.
If I ever go again, I will
exactly.
think of you.
It's one of those bars. It's like, oh, the Marathon, been there forever. You go in, you're like, oh, okay.
Hey,
see you next time.
Free popcorn,
which won't be ever.
I love a good bar snack. So, well, Mox was closed. Mox is a great little bar if you're leaving Providence, right? Providence Park. Mox is a great little bar, but they closed at 10, which was criminal. So we went to Marathon, and then my car was back here at the station. So we were catching a lift, and the BTJ and my buddy were like, well, let's just walk. It's like a 20-minute walk. And so we were walking, and we all started laughing. First off, we were walking down like 17, so right through the kind of the heart of the city there. I was pleasantly surprised. We did not encounter any of the houseless people. They had done a nice job down in that area. And at least 9 or 10 different times, the running joke of the war-torn, we were kind of like ducking, like one of us would like get like by a mailbox. We'd have to duck down and be like, man, it's rough out here.
Are you kidding me?
And occasionally we came across a pack of like girls in tube tops or whatever, and we're like, man, these these
I guarantee they're carrying knives.
these streets
Watch
out
out.
there. And it was just, it really, every time I walk through the city at night, I just think to myself, how on God's green earth is the narrative of this city is on fire? It's just the dumbest thing in the world. But luckily, I got out of there with my life by the skin of my teeth.
You made it home.
I did.
That's good.
Yeah. Then we had to go over to the other side of town where apparently it's not war-torn. There's bread pudding involved. I gotta get over there. My mom is adorably racist. It's problematic.
Well, look. The Blazers coach just got arrested.
Yeah.
Kids are being poisoned with oven cleaner.
Hey, we found out what that was.
It sounds war-torn to me. What do you mean?
We got an official explanation.
In the news follow-up?
Yeah. So we thought it might be the spray. It wasn't. It was granular. The person thought that the oven cleaner grains were salt. They were sprinkling.
Oh my God.
They were sprinkling oven cleaner on the pretzels.
Wow.
Yeah.
Poisoning children.
Well, they said the kids.
Here in war-torn
They said the
Portland.
kids were fine.
So does that guy get fired, or is that just nice mistake there, fella?
I think you get fired.
I mean, you don't put the salt next to the cleaner though either. What do we do?
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah.
You know, remember the guy who ran into my house with a garbage truck?
Yeah.
Remember that whole story?
Yeah.
That guy didn't get, well, he got I think
disciplined?
he got fired, but they hired him back, and I was happy about that.
Yeah.
Because he just made a mistake.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
Well, he did. Yeah, it was the best thing that ever happened to your house. You got like a new front of your house. Yeah, like that's different. That's different than.
Well, it could have killed somebody.
You sprinkled poison on pretzels and then fed them
Again,
to children.
could have killed somebody. It's the same idea. I say let the man have his job back. He's learned his lesson. Just don't do it again, okay?
Hey, I would have loved to have seen, and I'm sure there is. I would like to see the camera footage of how you mistake oven cleaner granules for salt.
Well, probably looks just like that crappy soap from like school back in the day.
Yeah.
Or he was wasted.
Yeah, and if that's the case, then you don't get your job back.
I mean, I want to be the guy sprinkling salt on kids' pretzels.
Yeah.
But I'm going to do it wasted.
Yeah, that's not a job I'd show up for sober.
That is-
It's a good
that is-
point.
That is a valid point. Like you hear jobs like that, and you're like, my God! But you need someone out there needs
Has to do it.
Has to do it.
Yeah, got to do it.
For every time you've looked at that and been like, why on earth would anyone do that job? Be grateful that someone is out there to do that job, because they're like, and you know what? I'm gonna say right now, those people are American heroes, because they are doing things that no one wants to do, and they're doing it. And if it wasn't for them, dude, this world would cease. If everyone that was working like a dead-end, piss-poor paying job stopped doing their job, society would crumble to its knees immediately.
Doing God's work, right?
As long as they're
so-
legal.
So that guy out there spreading salt,
Calling ice.
you know, he's out there doing work. You think he wants to be doing that? No, but he's doing it anyways. Why? Because pretzels without salt, what the hell's the point? I might add that pretzels without cheese, if you're serving pretzels at a ball game or something and you're not offering cheese, what? Why are you
Yeah, there's just mustard and ketchup. Like, give me the cheese option,
It's ridiculous. They do this at the Keller. The Keller offers the nice hot warm pretzel
With ketchup?
with no cheese.
But mustard, though?
Well, they have the stupid packets of mustard.
Which is also
It's not even-
annoying.
like what do we?
Well, some people like mustard with their pretzel.
No, but in the packet.
In the packet,
Just
like,
give me a
if
dispenser
you,
of some
yeah,
damn
if you give me like a
sauce.
nice container or something, maybe a Dijon, but you just give me like that one pack of like bastard French's mustard.
You know what? Yeah.
Stop serving the pretzel or give me some sort of dispensed sauce.
For as much as they
Keller?
charge for tickets, yes.
Yeah, Keller.
Come on.
Look, I'm already paying like $11.50 for the pretzel. The least you can do is swing me like. I understand you're going to charge me. By the way, that's the most upcharged thing in the world. They're like, I want some cheese with that. Yeah, that'll be an extra $3. And you're
yeah.
like, all right, well, I'm not going to sit there and eat it like a psychopath. So you have to get the cheese.
It's just annoying. It costs less to go to a Blazers game most nights than like any concert or any show at the Keller.
Not anymore.
Well,
Hey,
Everybody's eyes on the world of the
maybe the team's
Blazers.
about to take off under the watchful eye of Tiago
Tiago
Splitter. Yeah.
What if Tiago Splitter is the greatest thing that ever
That's
happened
what I'm
to the
saying,
Blazers?
man. Next thing you know, well, he needs to be because one of us has an over on the Blazers win total. So I need I need a bump here.
Not a good start for you. Season's off to a rousing start.
Let's go.
You lost the first game and your coach is going to prison.
I know it's not great right now.
Has that number changed at all? Let's see.
I think I got it at, I don't remember if I have it, either 34 or 35 and a half.
All right. Let's get back on track here. Are men tipping their pitches? That is next on The Fan.
Seahawks View from here.
You're a loser.
Well, I've got the latest from studyfinds.org, one of my favorite websites.
Love a good study.
Yes, researchers have studied men's gait.
Our gait?
Like our walk?
Our trot, if you will?
Correct.
Yeah. I have a terrible gait.
Yeah, I walk like a penguin. Although it's not my fault. My foot came out crooked, so.
Oh. Well, everybody walks differently.
Yeah.
But have you ever thought about what that might say about you?
My gait?
Yeah.
No, I've never once thought about that. But now I'm intrigued by what the study says about my gait.
Well, what they're finding is that men unconsciously advertise their fighting ability, through two simple movements. Yeah. This is so part and parcel with, well, just men.
Yeah.
This is what men do.
Okay.
Researchers used 3D motion capture technology to record 52 men walking naturally, then asked 137 people to rate how physically dominant each walker appeared based solely on their gait.
I want this to be like the Vince McMahon, Conor McGregor walk.
What
the
emerged?
Most manly of walks.
What emerged was a pattern where different combinations of body size and walking style can lead to similar dominance ratings. A smaller, weaker man who walks with exaggerated movement patterns can register just as dominant as a substantially larger, stronger man who moves with minimal flair.
Love this.
So 2 specific walking patterns stood out. And the first one is torso sway, which is how much the upper body rocks side to side with each step. So yeah, we're all kind of
like you do like a
it's a little bit of a strut,
like a metronome sort of thing, right?
Yeah, a little bit of a strut.
Yeah.
Or just think of the opposite of that, which is walking without any sway side to side of your torso, right? Like it's just there's no. Okay, and then the second one is shoulder abduction, holding the shoulders away from the chest.
Oh, so that's peacocking. That's
Yeah.
if you got your T's out.
Oh.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's the douchey.
I see guys doing that all
That's
the time.
that's the ultimate. I'm gonna size you up and you
Yeah.
know the shoulders back. Check this out. Yeah.
So men who displayed more of these movements were rated as significantly more dominant, even when viewers couldn't see their actual body size, face, or anything else besides the walking pattern. Physical dominance in this context refers to the ability to win physical fights, a trait that has shaped human evolution through male competition. Throughout history, correctly judging who could inflict harm helped people avoid dangerous conflicts.
Sure.
But previous research focused almost exclusively on static cues like facial structure, chest width, and height. This study shows that dynamic movement provides its own independent channel of information about one's fighting ability. Yes. So,
but we don't know if this is just perceived. We don't really know if anyone can actually. Like, how would you?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's right. No, what they're saying
it's a
is
perception.
even a small guy with little man syndrome
Yes.
who can't fight a lick, if he can just walk a little tougher, it's the definition of little man syndrome, is
Yes.
it not?
Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
You can't fight a lick. You're going to get squashed like a bug, you little piece of S.
It look like you.
But you just gotta bow up like you're tough, little guy.
Well, that is a nature thing, right? Like,
yes,
all throughout, animals always try to make themselves look bigger, right? That's they inflate themselves, and that makes sense.
Hell, we're told to do that to defend against a bear, right?
Yeah, try to make yourself bigger.
Be as big as you can.
Yeah, because it's that hey, don't mess with me. I'm not easy prey. And so now this is we're giving men everywhere an excuse to now be extra douchey when walking on the street.
I've never really thought about how I walked. Like that's not something
I never have either.
Take into account. Like when I'm like, oh, you know what I'm gonna do right up here? I'm gonna make sure these guys don't mess with me. So I'm gonna stick my shoulders out and sway my torso.
Well, you've pointed out multiple times when we go out on location, I get sized up by people all the time. Yeah. And as they walk by, they do this exact thing. They'll stare at me, and then they immediately stand up as straight as they can, and the shoulders go back, and then there's some sort of weird. It's like, it's
the torso sway.
Yeah, it's the torso sway. Yeah, they start doing that. That happens.
Peacocking.
That happens all the time.
Somebody said, did they test men wearing pointy elf shoes?
Oh, that's funny.
Is that is it funny?
Yeah.
I liked it.
By the way, don't be that guy. Just walk how you normally walk. The idea that like you are posturing and knowing that you're doing it, my God.
Yeah, you can tell when somebody like doesn't pay attention to how they walk, and then they're
I would view that as far
trying
as
to get looked at.
As far as a fighting ability, I'm around people every day that can actually fight, that are legitimately some scary human beings. I just think I would think if I saw someone walking like that, I would assume that you did not know how to fight. Most of the people that I know that are actually, is a lot of the guys that some of the guys around me are ex-pro MMA fighters, and I don't think any of those guys walk like that.
Well, but I think
they don't have to.
The point here is that you never really can tell
No, you cannot.
who can fight and who can't. So you better be effing careful.
Yes.
Because the guy you size up wrong, you're getting chopped.
Yeah.
And you just really don't know. Because martial arts or whatever it is.
Yep.
But I think the point here is that what they're saying is men will exaggerate in order to make themselves look
And apparently it
tougher.
works.
Yeah, yes, it
yeah,
does.
to the untrained, again, if you're out at a bar or whatever and you see some dude that looks like he's walking like Johnny Hotass, maybe you're just like, that's not the guy.
And chicks dig it.
Chicks dig it. I always say one of the scariest dudes I know is one of my professors. His name's Igor. He's a little Brazilian man that goes about 5'5", about 140 pounds. And someday, some poor bastard at a bar is going to pick on that guy, and it is not going to go well. That dude is just a little Wolverine. Although the ears can cut. That's the other one. The ears give it away. If you see some little dude and he's got cauliflower ears, that's the universal sign for stay away. Or if you're wearing one of those weird Russian hats. If you see any of those dudes with a neck beard and they're wearing like one of those those fur hats, that's also Mother Nature's way of saying that dude's about to tear you a new a-hole.
Yeah, is it weird to say that you can kind of see MMA guy? Like, you can just look at somebody and see that?
Yeah, you can.
I don't think that's weird at all.
But there's a difference between the dude that wants to be, that wears MMA tap-out shirts, and you can actually see the guy that does
yeah, you can see it in his face.
Yeah, you can. Yeah. Check the ears, man.
Yeah, the ears and the face.
Check the ears as a face. Yeah,
the eyes are a little crooked.
Yeah, and there's a weird subtle confidence that isn't this douchey bravado thing. You can, if you're around him enough, you can just sense it.
Hey, so the BTJ, for those that don't know, that's your dear wife that you refuse to wed.
The missus.
And BTJ stands for Big Time Japanese.
Yeah, we were coming back, by the way, and I don't know what she thinks about this, but it is hilarious now because we were coming back from Portugal and we went through New York, and one of the guys was like, Sook? And I was like, oh, man. He's like, hey, P1. And he turns and goes, this must be the BTJ. No one actually knows her name when they were out in public. They just call her the BTJ, and I find it fantastic. Not sure what she thinks about it, but I find it wonderful.
Well, she was dubbed that because your mom
Yes.
introduced her as
Big Time Japanese.
Big Time Japanese once.
Hence my mom is
so
adored.
not just Japanese,
Yes,
Big Time.
Big Time.
So she would know about this, and I wonder if you do too, being in proximity of the BTJ.
Yeah.
Have you heard of, I'm going to probably butcher this, but Madagiwa Zoku? Do you know what that is?
Madagiwa's, I don't, not off the top of my head.
Okay. Well, we're going to get to a topic about Madagiwa Zoku coming up next.
Oh, all right.
All right.
Let's do it.
It's a Japanese tradition, and it's great.
I might know the tradition then and just not know the name of it.
So that's next on The Fan. Here's Schultz.
Now, from the George McCoy and Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
First on The Fan, shocking news today here in Portland. Trailblazers head coach Chauncey Billups arrested by the FBI for participating in illegal poker games with ties to the mafia. According to indictments, Billups is being charged with money laundering and wire fraud conspiracy. He was taken into custody this morning, and actually his attorney just released a statement a few minutes ago. This is via ESPN. Chauncey Billups' attorney responding to accusations saying, quote, his client has never and would never gamble on basketball games, end quote. So it sounds like he's addressing the possible connection to him being conspirator number 8 in the second charge, or the second investigation, separate from the poker games. That's more responding to the illegal sports betting. Don't see any comments from Chauncey's attorney on the poker game accusations. Also arrested this morning, Terry Rozier, guard for the Miami Heat in Orlando, as part of that overlapping investigation into illegal sports betting. The team, in response, naming assistant Thiago Splitter as their interim head coach. Also, former Cavaliers player and assistant coach Damon Jones, also among 34 people arrested. He allegedly disclosed injury info about LeBron James to facilitate illegal sports betting. On to the NFL. Thursday Night Football in action right now. About 2 minutes to go in the second quarter. Chargers lead the Vikings 14-3. Justin Herbert thrown for a tutty so far in that one. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Schulte from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Heard missing work, insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
Your home for Seahawks football.
stayed quiet, but
Like literally an hour later.
Yeah, an
there's
hour
this-
later. Yeah. Well, he's a man of increase and a man of integrity.
Okay, so that leads us down the path that he's just going to be like, this is all untrue, prove it. They're just going to make him prove it.
Yes. And
so we'll find out what the feds have.
Yes.
Maybe they can't prove it.
The statement's interesting to me because they kind of go into a little bit more defending the sports betting, but they do defend it, but kind of wistfully and just like with one little off, like he's not going to jeopardize anything for a card game. Like I find that to be extremely interesting. So.
Now to Metagiwa Zoku.
Mm-hmm. Talk to me.
Who and what?
Metagiwa Zoku.
Okay.
Bless you.
Thank you.
Oh, bye.
This is a Japanese tradition, and somebody forwarded this to me, and I thought it was funny. And so did he. And he says he's seen it firsthand. 49% of companies in Japan have an old man who does nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And the term Metagiwa Zoku literally means the tribe by the window. And it describes employees who have been quietly sidelined within a company. They're often assigned minimal or meaningless tasks and seated by the window as a subtle way to encourage resignation without direct dismissal. The phenomenon stems from Japan's tradition of lifetime employment, where companies retain staff even after their perceived usefulness has declined.
That's awesome.
It represents a kind of professional limbo, a silent demotion that has drawn both criticism and fascination in Japanese culture and media.
Criticism, I would think it's good because like
have you heard of Metagiwa Zoku?
I can't say that I have. I do know that over there, the whole taking care of your elderly people is a big deal, and so is the loyalty to a company and the company being loyal to you. I mean, they do not have a great work-life balance. The BTJ's brother was married to a traditional Japanese gal as well, and he worked for a company and he left to take a different job at another company, and his father-in-law was demanding that the daughter divorce him because he was such an unloyal person to leave a company, because he was a traditional old school guy. So they take that
so
stuff.
they take care. So they say, listen, you suck now, and you're old, but we don't want to fire you. So here's a seat by the window.
Yeah.
And here's some money. And here's and we're gonna have you clean out the copier.
And I know like some people saying that's I know that like I can see where that's can be criticized, but imagine if you're an older guy here in the States and instead of being laid off, they just gave you a position and just kind of kept you on. Isn't that a good thing? Like, I don't think that's a negative thing.
Do you want the news now or tomorrow?
Hey, if you want to
Your
make
new
me
cubicle is over by the window.
Let's do it. I just get to sit by a window. I mean, that's what Dusty does anyways. He just sits over
He
there.
doesn't have a window.
That's true.
He's not by the window.
No, I want a window.
Well, hell, if anybody's going to be the man by the window, it's going to be me. I'm the old guy. Well, no, it's Swigard. Swigard's the oldest guy here.
That's true. Yeah, like the idea of firing Swag or making him sit by a window and do like essentially nothing, I kind of like that. I think there's something good about the loyalty of that. I don't mind that at all. I don't view that as a negative. I view that as a positive. Better than being. It's sad when you see people that have been let go and they can't really relearn or they're too old to join the job market. Those are the people that end up being greeters at Walmart and stuff. Although, is that kind of the same thing? Is that our version of this? When you work at like Home Depot or Walmart and you just wave to people, is that?
It's kind of sad. I mean, I would imagine if you work in these companies and somebody gets Metagiwa Zoku'd.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of, I don't know. I guess it's just our customs that are looking at it that way, but over there it's probably like, you've been here a long time.
Yeah, we'll take
great
care,
man, you've done a great job. Yeah. But we more look at it like, wow, how pathetic.
Yeah. But what else are you what else are you gonna do?
Drive an Uber.
Yeah, like what is this? And I don't want to insult anyone, but what's the job that if you look at, you feel the worst for someone? Like if you saw an old man, we all do that. Like, because some people obviously they can't afford to retire, and it's one thing if you're choosing to do it because you stay active. But we've all seen an old person doing something, and I legitimately feel bad. I'm like, oh man, I don't want you to be doing that. Like if I saw an elderly person that was like stocking shelves at a grocery store, I would.
I've seen that.
Yeah, I'd be like, man, that stinks.
Well, you don't really see elder. I mean, there's only so many things they can do if they're old. You know.
Well, maybe not. Maybe not like not asking you to be Methuselah, but let's say like 65.
Well, I mean, haven't we all ridden in the Uber with the older guy who tells you tales of his wonderful life and career, and he's driving an Uber?
Yeah.
And you're like, well, why are you driving? But then you look at it and go, well, I shouldn't judge. Maybe he just wants a little fun money on the side, or he's bored, or you know,
something to do.
But forgive us for being skeptical of that old man when we're sitting there like, oh, something went wrong because you're driving me around.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm drunk at 1 a.m. and you're driving me to a Wendy's to pick up some spicy nuggets. I'm not certain that this was part of your grandioso plan. Yeah, I'm with you on that. Again, the alternative of just a company keeping someone on, I think that's great. If a company did that in the United States, I would applaud that company. I would not crap on that company. I think that's a good custom. And there are a lot of cultures that do take care of their olds, and I think in our country we do not. I think we kind of mock them and tend to shove them into a corner.
You think?
Yeah.
Where'd you come up with that idea?
Well, they say, too, that one of the ways you can live a longer life is to have purpose, right? To be around people, to still be in the workforce and not just be isolated.
All right. Well, I wanted to bring that to your attention.
I'll ask her about it.
Ask her about...
If she knows. If she knows about that.
You're doing
great.
Ask her about it.
I love it. You had it at the beginning of the segment. Now you're like,
I can't remember. All right. We're going to have a nice full segment to end the show. When's the last time that happened?
Yeah, it doesn't happen very
What do you think
often.
about that? Yeah. I got to come up with some more content for you guys.
Bonus content?
Here in a content factory. I don't know. We'll figure something out. Next on The Fan.
Dirt and Sprague. Dirt and
Yeah, big fat final seggy. Usually it's a throwaway. Not anymore.
A lot of fat friends.
New leaf. Fat. We've turned over here.
Someone said old person working the counter at the fast food place always makes them. That's
rough.
That is tough.
Yeah, like my dad always said he wanted to pump gas, when he retired. I don't know if he still wants to do that, but like I do know all the all the time that you have needs to be taken up by something. So I don't know, like an Uber job or pumping gas. That's fun, right?
Pumping gas? Like what?
Well, so
what?
He managed a gas station when he was in his 20s. It
Yeah,
just
not a
makes him
friend
feel
yet,
young.
fat.
So I don't know if like anybody wanted to do something like they did when they
Oh,
were 20.
It's nostalgic.
Exactly.
Interesting. I'm always doing like
Yeah.
I've thought about that, and I want to bartend when I'm old.
There you go. See, that's Rob, get back into bartending. See, that makes sense.
I just want to I want to retire someplace warm and just I want to be that. I want to be an old guy with a gray beard and.
I'll probably just do the marshalling thing, get some free golf.
Yeah, that works for a lot of people. My dad did that for, I don't know if he still does, but he did that for years and years. And it's social. You get to talk to people. You're
Tell
around
my jokes.
Yeah, you get.
I got to do my set.
Yeah.
On the first tee.
Oh, you gotta love when you see the marshal that
Oh,
wants
God.
the starter that wants to
He
do
said that
jokes.
joke 800 times. Can't wait to tell it to you, though.
Yep. Yeah, you gotta find. See that to me doesn't seem doesn't seem sad. That actually kind of seems fun.
Well, you
But
get free golf. Golf can be expensive.
Yeah. I could totally see you out there. Doing.
Hey, move it along, fellas. Smoking my stogue.
Would you be nice or would you be that? You
Oh
be
no,
the
you
the
gotta
no
be
fun
nice.
police.
No, you can't be no fun police out there. Come on, you gotta be nice. Like the Langdon guys. Langdon guys are great.
It's always older guys too.
Well, yeah, because they don't.
Yeah,
I
what
mean,
else-
you
what
don't
else
get
you
paid
got?
much, and you get free golf. It's nice.
Get to be creepy to the hot cart girl out there.
That's right. That's right.
Creep on her a little bit.
I'm guessing, just like anything else, there's infighting amongst golf course marshals.
The hierarchies.
Yeah, there's probably old guys that hate each other out there. Like in the mix.
Yeah.
Of there's probably like 8 to 10 guys that rotate, and there's probably 2 of them that don't get along. Start fighting in the cart barn, and
They're not allowed to work the same.
knifing each other.
To stagger the shifts.
Hey, I'm gonna go get the flags. No, you go get the flags.
I know some people that
Son of a bitch.
There's people that do high school, little league umpiring, refereeing.
Oh god.
I've seen that.
The
older-
intense ones are just
the old retired guy.
Well, no, I
that's-
think that
that's-
would be fun.
Yeah, older guy that's just
If
kind
you
of
really like the game.
Yeah, you really like the game, and I could see someone that really likes baseball being a high school ump. I think you got to deal with parents and stuff, but I could see that being a way that you stay connected. I mean,
There's-
you
there's
have
a
to
level.
you have to find something that you're passionate about, that you enjoy doing. The last thing you want to do when you're 60 is go to a job that you truly loathe, that you have to do, and just to stay active. So you find something that you love.
Nothing bad can happen. It can only good happen.
It can only good.
When I was playing basketball, I think this was like late middle school, so probably 8th grade. I will never forget the referee, kind of who you're talking about, just older gentleman, wanted to stay close to the game, loved basketball, obviously. He would act out every foul he called. So he would not only blow the whistle and make the call, but he would show you exactly what happened. And I just, it's like, okay, buddy, the passion is just flowing.
Good for him. I applaud that.
It looked funky, though. Watch a referee jump around. This is how he hit him. It looked
Again, but I give a kudos to that guy out there staying spicy, mixing it up. Maybe working working at a lumber yard or something. It's like stuff that I would enjoy doing. Out there cutting some plywood. Love the smell, or maybe a nursery, being somewhere out in nature. Could I be a park ranger?
Ooh.
Could someone pay me to wear a Smokey the Bear hat, like a U.S. Forestry Service? I could see that. That could be another one too. That would be I'm just out there paddling around in a canoe on a lake, looking for algae or something.
What if you you run the shack that rents out canoes or boats
Yeah.
or something like that?
Something fun. Beats working in a fast food joint. I never understood that anyways. If you're going to work, and again, shout out to people that are working jobs that you hate. I get it. But if you're working a dead end job and it ain't going anywhere, and you're going to be making $16.50 an hour for the rest of your life, and you live in your little, everyone knows those people, and it's just it's a little apartment and it's not going anywhere, and go do that in Key West. Go do that somewhere. Save up some money for a year and go do that down in Costa Rica, where at least it's cheap to live and you don't have to wear shoes.
I think you just go steal jewels from the Louvre.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what I'd do.
Dress up like a construction worker.
Yeah. Takes 10 minutes.
It's easy, apparently.
I wonder if they're going to get away with that.
So far they have. The longer it goes.
I know, but it's been like, what, a week?
Well, I guess the question is what have they done with the jewels? Have
Well,
they been able to profit?
Yeah.
Or are they, like how do they... Because that's not over. Just because you got away with it doesn't mean anything. You have to cash the prizes in, Like,
yeah.
What was that?
That was... Oh. That
Is
wasn't
this
me.
Really war-torn Portland?
Hey, Mariners
we heard
game
a
is on right now. I
big
ain't slamming
explosion.
anything.
That sounded like a full-on explosion.
Yeah.
Nemec's out there. He's doing the same thing. Like,
What was that?
I don't know.
Are we all right?
Oh, dear.
Uh-oh.
Great.
Yikes.
The bombs. You've
bombs.
never seen bombs like this.
Quiet. You're really obnoxious.
Well, isn't it weird? Like this, I have this thought.
No,
all
but
the
seriously, what was that?
I see. This is my point. I have this thought.
I can go check.
I have this thought all the time, right? You're lying in bed and you hear something at night, right? You know, hey, is that gunshot? Is it a car crash or whatever? And it never ends up being nothing. You're like, I don't know, whatever. You go back to bed or whatever, until the one time that it is something. Like we all heard like a really, really loud kind of explosion bang thing there, and it probably is absolutely nothing. But
what do you mean? How could that be nothing?
Well, I mean, who knows? Maybe someone hit a light pole outside. It probably has nothing to. There's no sort of real negative consequences, to us. But imagine imagine it actually was something. I get that goes back to the World Trade Center thing. How many people on that day in 9/11 were in the tower next to it? The first one that got hit, and heard just this horrible thing, and you're like, oh my God, what is that? And someone was like, I don't know, man, I'm busy working or whatever. And then someone's like, dude, you should seriously come look at this. And you look outside and you're like, oh my God. Like, it's nothing until it's something. I have that thought all the time when you hear something or whatever. Like, that was a really, really loud thing that just happened. And I'm sure there's a very reasonable explanation for it where it's, we're not in danger or anything until you walk outside and you're like, and the building's on fire. Like, someone literally just blew up the side of our building.
Yeah,
really.
usually it's like one of those, it's like a transformer
Yeah.
blowing or something.
Yeah.
Those can be pretty jarring.
Sure.
I don't see fire trucks yet, so.
Well, imagine like
Well, I'm going to go by the ice building. They may have just bombed all the frogs.
Little froggy guy. Well, like you had the garbage truck go through the front of your house.
Yeah.
Luckily, no one was home. You imagine being in your bedroom, because that was that morning or whatever. Imagine you're just on the pot or you're taking a shower and you hear that. And you're like, what the hell? And then you open the door and you just see a garbage truck literally in your living room.
Yeah. We weren't home at the time.
Yeah.
But our dogs were. And I swear to God, those two dogs were never the same.
No.
Like they were spooked to death.
I don't blame
Literal
I don't
death.
blame them. Explain that away, dog. Yeah. There's now a truck through the living room. I mean, that's some scary stuff. So if we're not on the air tomorrow, we've been bombed.
Something happened
out
there.
War-torn Portland. I did have someone when I said that I walked through the middle of the city last night at like midnight. They're like, come on, Suk, this city is a dump. Everyone that says that, I would like to ask the question, when was the last time you were actually in downtown?
Well, he said he goes to downtown all the time. Drops his kid off. He says skid's a skater or something.
What?
That's what he said.
Just these...
He says he sees tweakers all the time.
God. Somehow I missed every single one when I walked right through the heart of the city last night.
Well, you might see a tweaker, but does
Yeah.
that mean
does that mean that
terrible?
Yeah.
It's called a city.
They're everywhere.
You idiot.
It's a dump, but you drop your kid off down here. Yeah.
You know who's an idiot? Chauncey. What an idiot.
No, he's a man of integrity.
Chance. Poor guy.
A man of integrity.
I am seeing more and more people on social media, like coaches, coming out to defend him. Rick Carlisle's like, I reached out. He didn't respond. Yeah, no kidding. What are we doing here?
Hey, he's innocent, man. He's going to fight the charges.
Sitting in his house listening to our show right now. Probably loving life. He's like, oh, my paycheck's still coming?
Oh, I don't think that's the case. That contract's about to be voided, my man.
Oh, they could void that with cause.
Well, yeah.
Yeah,
and
I
he's
would-
losing.
I would think so.
He's losing the 50 grand every time he
Pookie
sets up a whale.
Yeah, Pookie.
In the poker games. Boy, his income just took a real hit, didn't it?
Me, he would never risk it. He's a man of integrity.
You think he'll run poker games in prison?
Actually, yeah.
I do too. Can't cheat in there.
Oh, I wouldn't. That would not be my recommendation. I think they take it seriously there.
All right, Andrew Nemec is coming up next. We're back tomorrow, 3 to 7 on The Fan. Good night.
Red ships of Spain.